Hello, guys. Welcome back. Hope you guys had a good week. I know I did. Got a lot of stuff done. This is going to be a very exciting week for content-wise. I'm planning on working on a bunch of shorts and stuff, so it's going to be pretty cool. I think you guys will like the content. Thanks to everyone who voted, by the way, because now I know where to take my content going forward. And I want to check one quick thing before we start this live stream. Okay. Then why is it not? I don't know. It's kind of weird. One important note, and that is tomorrow I'm going to be streaming around 7 o'clock because the Code Geass, what is it, the Valentine's event is starting for Janissary Code. So I'm going to be streaming on Monday to get ready for that. Basically summonings. That's all you really do in that game anyways. I mean, there's other things here and there, but that's basically all you do in it. So this is going to be a slightly shorter stream because we're just going to go with the episodes, and that's going to be kind of it. I know, actually, that's not true. We'll do some summonings at the end, and then it's going to be kind of it. So it's not going to be a typical 3 hours. It's probably going to, but it shouldn't. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be 3 hours. Anywho, with that out of the way, let's get started with the episodes, which is going to be 16 and 17, because that's where we're at. I really like the show, so I don't want to run through this stuff quickly. I know I normally do like 3 episodes, but I want to keep it at 2 at a piece. So 16, 17 will be this week. We'll do 18 and 19 next week, which is the wrap of the Tokyo Settlement Battle Tokyo 2, and the Black Knight Betrayal. And then we'll go on to basically the Ragnarok Connection stuff, and then the Zero Requiem, and I'll split it up between 22 and 23, and 24 and Final Turn RE, which is technically actually, that's technically, what's it called? That's technically 25. But for some reason, it's referred to as Final Turn RE. I don't know why. When I first started writing articles, I used to get it wrong. I was saying it incorrectly. I was saying turn 25, which is not really inaccurate, but that's not exactly the correct answer. Anyways, let's get into it. And of course, if you guys want to, here you go. Just a reminder to follow me everywhere, and join the Discord server. At the end, if you guys put any memes in there, we'll go over those before I do the summoning. So hopefully, I don't forget what the topic was when we get to it. Anyways, let's get into turn 16. Now, before we actually get started with the events of the episode, because there's a lot to discuss, it's really cool how Lelouch narrates the episode. And I mentioned this in my R2 review and other notes as well, and I'm sure in other streams. But I like the fact that because C2 lost her memories, there's no reason for her to actually be narrating the story because, as you know, she does all the narrations, but she's not the same person anymore. So obviously she can't do it, so they have Lelouch do most of the episodes, and then Suzaku, he does, I believe it's 19. If you hear a dog barking, I do apologize. There's an upstairs dog. I think it's a corgi. It's extremely, what's the word? It's very needy. So if you hear the dog, I do apologize. I have the noise canceller, so it's supposed to block dogs, or dogs. It's supposed to block sounds, but you might hear it, so I can't really do much about that. Anyways, the point I was making was that Lelouch does a narration, and I like it. It's pretty simple. Like C2 had more deep, I guess, philosophical thing to talk about, and all Lelouch says is that things are moving forward because of Zero, and all things are happening because of Zero, and things can't be stopped. Now, it's weird how Lelouch refers himself in third person as Zero. Why didn't he just say, I'm doing it? That's kind of weird, why he would refer himself in third person. I mean, he's not The Rock, but maybe he thinks he is. I don't know. Maybe he's associating the two identities as two separate people. Who the heck knows? But anyways, I like that part of the episode. So anyhow, so it starts off, and if you guys don't remember, Charles is now locked up in C's world, Sword of Akasha. For some reason, Lelouch thinks he's dead, and I'm wondering, no, he's not dead. He didn't die in the Sword of Akasha. If you guys are, not you, but he remembered, Charles is immortal, so he can't die. So when Lelouch says, like, oh my god, how is he still alive? I'm thinking, wait, don't you mean how he escaped? not how he's still alive. He can't die, right? Like, I don't know. There's maybe it was a bad translation. So they're all like, "Oh my god, he's gone." And apparently, only the people in the royal family know about this, and a select handful of people. Here's another picture of Genevieve. If you wanted an image of her and Odysseus. And because they're all talking, they all found out about this, and they're thinking, okay, well, if Charles is gone, well, guess what? We can't invade China now, so there goes those plans. And then Alicia's like, Nunnally, if the people learn about what happened with Charles, there's going to be revolt and stuff. So what do you plan to do about that? And they're like, Alicia, could you back off of her for more than 2 seconds? So I respect Gino here. He was saying, like, you should back off, honestly. I also find interesting that, like, I get why Lloyd's here because he's a nobility, why he'd be in this meeting, but Cecile isn't really that up there. I mean, she's a scientist in the special corps. I don't consider her to be a high ranking official by any means or nobility, but for some reason they have her in the meeting. Like with these guys, it kind of makes sense because they are high official military officers now. But I guess Cecile got a promotion too. I don't know. This is kind of interesting why she's with everyone else. I guess you could argue they shouldn't be here either. Claudio, Edgar, and David. But either way, they're trying to discuss what to do about Charles being gone because obviously we can't invade China. And we got to deal with the fact that if people find out, what's the worst, there could be like revolts and stuff. Who the heck knows? Suzaku, of course, upset as usual. Lelouch is now talking, I believe it was to nobody. That's right. He was talking to anybody. He was saying to himself, now that Charles is gone, Nunnally is safe. That's right. Then Ceta's like, what should I do, master? And he said, okay, what was it? Hop on one foot while wearing your clothes inside out. And she was going to do it, but Lucia's like, no, don't do that. And she's like, no, please don't beat me, master. And he's like, no, I would never do that. Now, there's a couple of questions I have about this scene. Or the whole situation with C2 and her losing her memories and going back to her slave mentality. Her slavery mode, I guess. Well, number one, I assume C2 is 10 years old here, or 7. I know in my video I said she was 7. I'm not really sure how old she was in her past, but I assume the C2 you see here has the mind of like a 7-year-old because she went back to before she got the Geass power, which was 7. But then again, maybe she's 16. I don't know. I'm not really sure how old she is here mentally because she's very childish. And when she had the Geass power at 16, she wasn't really childish. She was, but not like this. Like this is a very strange. I think she's either 7 or 10 mentally. I could be wrong, but it just seemed a little off to me. But that's not even the biggest thing I was wondering. Why is she wearing these clothes? Lucius doesn't even like give her something better to wear. I mean, it's like C2. I get it when she's normally C2 who she is. She's very open and confident about how she looks. Doesn't really care too much. But this is not the same C2. I'm not sure why he didn't change her clothes. I don't know. Or give her a better change of clothes. There are more questions about her, which I'll get to a little later, about this whole situation between C2 losing her memories and Lelouch dealing with it. Anywho, Jeremiah calls him, and he puts orange here, which is kind of funny. That's how he refers to Jeremiah. And then we get to possibly, and I'm not being hyperbolic here, possibly one of the worst scenes in the entire show. So he comes downstairs, or I'm not downstairs, I'm not sure where this is actually in Ikaruga, and he finds Cornelia. By the way, this way they have her tied up is very disgraceful, and this thing has been memed and used in fun fan art. I'll just put it like that. This is basically another Cornelia rant. This is like part 2 from last week's. So when these two talk, right, they could talk about literally anything. Let's just put things into perspective, right? They have not seen each other in probably over a year, however long that whole time between R1 and R2. And Lelouch was gunning for her for an entire season. And Cornelia wanted to kill him at the end of R1. So naturally, you would think they'd have lots to discuss. No, nothing. He just says, you use a Sutherland to rescue her. And she says, oh, what do you plan to do with Geass power? And he said, well, I'm going to change the world for my sister. And she's like, how dare you? And that's it. That's the entire conversation. That's the only time in this show that Lelouch and Cornelia have any kind of interaction at all. The two basically enemies, rivals in the entire last season have one conversation, and it's the dumbest conversation because there are so many questions that anyone with half a brain would ask, and Lelouch would ask these questions if the writers were thought about it for more than 2 seconds here. Okay, when Cornelia says, "What do you plan to do with Geass power?" Here's what Lelouch should have said. Okay, one, how do you know about Geass power in general? Who told you? Two, how do you know I have Geass power? It's like these aren't these like and three, how did you find the Geass order? We had to go through like Rollo and Jeremiah to find this place, and you found it on your own, and you know about Geass, and you know I have a Geass power. Those are three very big plot crucial elements that are not even discussed here at all. And given the information we know about how Cornelia found out about the Geass order, that could have been crucial to know about. The Glinda Knights, Orpheus, and Aldrin. Orpheus, not Aldrin, just Orpheus. Now, obviously, Outer Reflection didn't exist back then. But the problem with this is that they don't even set it up. Like, if you even decent run, you could have had Cornelia say, "Listen, there were some people who were revolting against the Empire, a terrorist organization, and one of them gave me the information." And that's it. You can be very vague about it. That would set up Oz the Reflection to introduce Orpheus and explain the Geass situation to her. And you could have came with some other reason, like how she found out about the Geass power. Even you could even say theoretically that Charles told me, and I would have bought it. But nothing. They don't say anything in this conversation about how she knows the information, and Lucius doesn't even care. He doesn't care, and that's what's it's so frustrating because these are two very important characters, especially Lelouch, and obviously Cornelia is important too. And like this what's the point of this exactly? So now Cornelia's being a prisoner for the rest of the episode until the rest of the show until 19. Then she goes with Schneisel for a little bit. Then she gets wounded by Schneisel, and then she's off for the rest of the show until the very end to stop Lelouch or something. That's it. That's all we get from this. What a waste on so many levels. And the writing was just really bad here because it made both characters look like complete idiots. You can't just have Cornelia and Lelouch talk about something for the first time and both of them be like, "Yeah, of course you would know." What do you mean, of course, Cornelia would know about Geass? They never discussed it. She had no knowledge. The only person in the royal family who had any knowledge of Geass, from what I know, was Schneisel because he found out about the Code R project, and I believe he was doing other stuff as well in the story. Cornelia never investigated Geass, had no knowledge of its existence. She wasn't even dealing with the fact that Jeremiah or Valletta had memory issues. She had nothing to do with that. She wasn't even remotely curious as to why Suzaku had freakouts at all. She just said, "Oh, a soldier who actually that is no place in my military or whatever." She never once questioned it or sought it out at all. So the fact that they gave her this information with no explanation of how she got it, and Lelouch doesn't even question it, is why this is one of the worst scenes in the whole story. It's a couple seconds, but my goodness, it just wow. This could have been easily rectified by simple scenes, dialogue, anything. And instead they had no setup for it. So it's very frustrating that Cornelia continued in the story to be absolutely worthless. They should have just killed her at the end of R1. Let's just be frank here. She should have just died. Instead of her being captured by Lelouch, she just gets killed. Maybe when Jeremiah cuts across, he hits her by accident, or maybe Lelouch just kills her and moves on. Because what point did she have in this story? Like none. Anyway, let's move on now, and I'm done ranting about Cornelia for now. I do want to do a video discussing like how they could have fixed her character because there were some easy things to do, and the show took almost no effort to try. But whatever. R2 is good, but this is one of the parts where it just wasn't. Anywho, rant over. Let's get on to the rest of the episode. So we see Asane talking to Kinoshita about what happened. Now here's what's kind of weird. Why? I assume the Akatsuki's don't normally do this pose. I thought it was just like the Four Holy Sword because it's a very like Japanese meditation pose. I assume that's what they were doing there. I could be completely wrong. But C2 is the one who pilots a pink Akatsuki, so why would it also go in this mode? Unless this is the natural resting, I guess, powered off state for the Akatsukis. But to me, it looked like it was more like a meditation, like a pose or something. Like I know that Tohdoh makes his do that, and so does Chiba and Asahina, but why would C2 do it is kind of weird to me. Maybe they messed with the colors when they were making this part of the episode. It was kind of weird. Anyways, Kenosha's like, Asu's like, what happened to that mission? Because there's blood on the claw. I don't have the image here, but on the Akatsuki's hand here, there's blood. So obviously he wants to know what happened. Although I'm not sure how blood got on the claw. I guess because he shot at some people and the blood splattered. Who the heck knows? Then Roll's like, secret mission. Only Zero knows about it. And he also said, like, and they told him, like, oh, you're kind of new here. How would how can we trust you? Or who cares about what you have to say? And Jeremiah, like, why is he in the organization? And Roll's like, no, trust comes from Zero and it goes downward. And I'm thinking, what a terrible system. So you're saying that basically everything comes from Zero and it's top down. Another example of where Lelouch's leadership skills kind of failed here, because you don't want to make a system like this, because Asahina is absolutely right. How the heck did Roll and Jeremiah get in here and there's no like say in it? It's basically a dictatorship. Zero basically ran the Black Knights as a dictatorship, which I was thinking about this the other day. That makes perfect sense because Lelouch only understood a monarchy since he was raised in one. So I don't think he would know a better system to raise or to lead, because that's all he knew. But of course, he could have got altered perspectives and we wouldn't be here. But either way, Roll tells Asina to shut his stupid mouth, and if you don't cooperate, well, we assume he knew he would have done. Meanwhile, back at the government bureau, Colin's beating the crap out of Suzaku because he couldn't commit to using the refrain on her, and she's saying, you can't push the whole good guy routine on me and also like be a bad guy to good guy. And Suzaku's like, I know, I don't. Oh God. And she's like, well, you know what? Just kill me. He goes, I won't do it. She says, I hate you because you keep switching the good guy bad guy act on her. So a really good emotional scene between the two characters. Yeah, it was a pretty good scene. Suzaku like almost crossed that line, which I think he should have for his character, not because I agree with the method of which to cross the line, but they decided not to go that route. I guess something Suzaku will never do. Then we get to a very important scene where Zero explains how the UFN will work and how they want everyone to join it, but obviously got to think of their own personal countries. And we get this weird picture of Zhao, and her eyes are just really weird looking. I mean, like, I'm not sure who designed this particular image, but or animation, but it was not the greatest. And they're just talking again about how like they'll have a justified reason to go to war because they're going to unify as one fighting force and they're going to rescue Japan. And their theory is if they save Japan, the other nations will follow suit. I didn't quite understand that, but that was the rationale and how they're going to do that. And Zero's like, just make sure you guys vote, and it's going to be like, we're going to change the whole world. That's the whole map, by the way, in case it wasn't obvious. And that's how that situation ends. They're going to vote on it. We know they obviously agreed to join the UFN, but if it was the first time watching the show, there'd still be a little bit of tension behind it. When Lelouch comes back, and this is what I was going to refer, just alluding to earlier, he sees that C2 is kind of scared of the television because she doesn't understand technology. Again, I think she's either 16 or 10 years old. She acts very childish here. Like, not like teenager, immature, like a child would act. So I still think she's like mentally 10 here. I'm not sure. Because her responses, they're adorable. They're not like a teenager would act. It's kind of interesting. So she's watching television. She doesn't know what this is. Lelouch comes in there and he gives her pizza, which she's kind of hungry, and he's like, "Oh, see, it's good, and try it." And she does anyways. She what's it called? She sniffs it and then eats it, which is weird. I guess that's what she did back in the day because she didn't trust anyone. I didn't quite understand that, why she sniffed it, but whatever, it doesn't matter. So they watch this like weird show where Millie's now a penguin, or dressed as a penguin, and he turns it off and he's saying, "Oh, that's right. You don't know, what this is, because the television technology." Now, what's interesting about the situation with C2? There's more question I have about this. So if C2 is not aware of what's it called? If she's not aware of technology and stuff, and all how the stuff works, why is she not confused about her clothing? Because her clothing is very modern. This is not like some old-fashioned outfit. She's wearing a modern, I guess that's a crop top and some shorts, and I'm sure her underwear is also not natural, and she's not even really confused about it. And if she is mentally 10 years old, which I suspect she is, then I think she'd be a little confused about her whole, body being mature. I don't know. There's a lot of like things about this that are not explored, and I could be really like reaching into this whole situation, but it's just odd to me how C2 went back to how she was 10, 16, however old she was, and she's not really aware or acting in a way that would make sense. Besides being innocent and being confused by technology, I guess questioning certain food, she's not questioning like what she's wearing or where the hell she is. It's she's like, oh, you're my new master now, and I'm like, yeah, true, but like there's I don't know, there's more going on here. It's I think they could have done more with this scene. I definitely think they wanted to focus more on showing how C2 can be adorable, which they succeed. Don't get me wrong, but there was way more they could have done in this scene to really show how C2 went back to the way she was, besides just being innocent. Because obviously it was more than that, right? But they didn't really do that with the scene. But this pizza eating scene is still very adorable. Either way. Anywho, we transition to another scene where Suzaku is talking to Anya, and Anya reveals, and this is very important, by the way, this is a good counter argument to anyone who thinks that Suzaku is not responsible for having to Shirley, and I'll explain why. So Anya tells Suzaku that she has no memories of what happened. She keeps going through her diary, and it keeps changing. She said like, "Oh, turn 11," or an event at turn 11. She didn't say turn 11. She's not self-aware. Breaking the fourth wall. She said that okay. What's it called? I don't remember the Chinese Federation invasion. I wrote it down in my journal. I have no memories of it. So Suzaku says, wait a minute, was it Charles Geass power? So Suzaku basically admits here that he is well aware what Charles' power can do, and that also means he knew that Charles rewrote all the memories of the student council, including Shirley. So if Suzaku knew that Charles did this, because I wasn't sure before, but now he said he confirmed it right here. If he knew that was the case, then he should have made sure before going off to stop whatever was going on with the terrorist attack that Shirley did not remember what happened. Because if she remembered who Lelouch was, keeping her with the cops was not a smart decision. At least not waiting for her to get into the car and then leaving. Because he's not stupid in that respect, that if Shirley was to remember the fact what happened to her father, she might be a little psychotic, a little crazy, or the reverse. Instead of like wanting to kill Lelouch because she told him that she forgave him, she might become the opposite. She wants to go save him. So it's boggling. It boggled my mind that Suzaku like literally knew what was going on, and the way he acted was very strange. It was very casual. Like, yeah, just take care of Shirley, take her home. She's totally fine. She just confessed to me that she got her memories back. It's totally cool. He didn't even investigate it. That's why it was so stupid. And this confirms he understood that Charles had this ability. So the more I look at it, the more Suzaku looks even guiltier of negligence in Shirley's death. Obviously, it wasn't just his fault. But Lelouch could have used this against him. But he doesn't because they didn't think that far. Then we meet one of the worst characters, maybe the worst character in Code Geass, Bradley Luciano, which I will say one thing about his character before I even get into the story itself. In Janissary Code, when you could have summoned him, which I failed to do so, he's giving you a thumbs up as a character. I'm like, wait, why is he giving me a thumbs up? This guy is a psycho and possibly a rapist. I don't know. He's really creepy and evil, but not in a cool way, not in a fun way or engaging. He's just evil for the sake of evil. And he has like one like thing he says where, what do people value more? Their lives. I'm like, okay, great. What a throwaway line that has no meaning. Look at our psychopaths in anime, like Johan, or I think Kenpachi is kind of one. You pick any character who's a psychopath, and especially a well-written one, even in like fiction, regular live-action stuff like, what's his name? Anton Chigurh from No Country for Old Men. There's more depth to the character behind their insanity. Bradley is just crazy because they wanted to have, I've said this like 1,000 times already, they just wanted to have a character in their ranks who was a little crazy, but it was part of their group. Every anime does this, and usually there's more depth to the character. Like, for example, in Bleach, Kenpachi is the crazy one. If he wasn't with the Soul Reapers, he'd probably be fighting them. Well, because he wants to fight everybody. There's always one in the group, right? They wanted to make Bradley that guy in their group, and he was such a failure because there was no depth to the character. He comes in episode 16, he dies episode 18. So he had no time to develop. We're supposed to care or fear for him. The story tries horrible ways to like make him seem feared. Like there's one part where he'll go to Colin later on and he'll say like, on the night of 10, and she'll be like, "Oh my god, it's Bradley," or I think he says his name, and she goes, "Oh my god, it's the vampire of Britannia." Like that means nothing to me, absolutely nothing to me. Okay, he's the vampire of Britannia. So what? We didn't know anything about him before. There was no records of him in the series. They never talked about him. There were obviously records, but they never talked about him. It wasn't like Suzaku said, like episode, I don't know, 5 or whatever, we might have to get the Vampire Britannia here. And then Gino's like, oh God, not him. You know, they don't even like, at least in the first season, they referenced characters that would come later on. Like when Lelouch was fighting against Clovis in episode 2, Clovis said, he's like Tohdoh. I'm like, okay, that was kind of cool. They referenced Tohdoh. Or Lloyd referenced Rakshata. They always reference characters you might be seeing later on. There was nothing, no setup for this character. He just kind of appeared like, hey, I'm a psychopath. Yes, I know he was in like the first episode. You see all the rest of the knights that are around. But so what? That's meaningless. Nadia was even worse because she didn't even have any scenes at all that by herself where she did anything. But if you want more stuff from the knights that are around, you have to read Oz the Reflection, which is such a stupid cop out. Make R2 50 episodes, and we don't care about this horribly defined character. Anyways, second rant over. He makes fun of Suzaku, and he says like, about Euphemia and all this crap. And Suzaku's like, if you keep shaming Euphemia, I'm gonna go kill you. And then Bismarck's like, enough. And of course, Anya, my God, they shoehorned this crap. It was so bad. She goes, oh, it's the night of 6 before a night of 10. Bradley, here's the night 1, Bismarck Waldstein. What are they doing here? I'm like, oh, Anya, you did it. That was such a lazy move. They made her say both the character's name and their rank in case you didn't know who they were. Because they couldn't think of a better way to introduce to the audience the names and ranks of these characters. So they had Anya just lazily go, well, it's the night of 1 and the night of 10. Again, like the Knights that are around, as I said before, horribly done dirty in the whole series. Shrink it down to a couple characters and only have them, or make the show longer to showcase more of these characters. Or here's a thought. Maybe don't make Z their capture and just animate Oz a Reflection. That'd be kind of cool. And then you can kind of like piece together R2. You can like fix R2 with Oz a Reflection almost. You can kind of like fix the mistakes by retconning stuff or showing things. But no, we have to get Z to capture, which maybe will be cool. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, there's an entire story that you could easily adapt from, which has all the main characters, lots of cool stuff, and new things too. Anyways, where the heck was I? All right, so Bismarck appears, and then you see Bradley. Oh my God, it's you, God, Bradley. And Bismarck appears. He brings all of his troops because they're going to fight Zero because they figure, oh, the Black Knights will come to Japan first with the UFN troops because if they take over Japan, then everything else is going to fall into place. I'm still not clear about that, but that's their decision. I mean, I'm not clear why that's the case, but that's the strategy they're going forward with. Then we see Schneizo with Cannon and Nina. They're in the what's it called? The bridge of the ship. I'm not sure why Nina's always like with Schneizo like this. I guess because of the flare. Then Bradley comes to go see Colin, and Nina's like, "I didn't say you can come here." And Bradley's like, "I don't really care. I want to talk to the hostage." And he says, and of course she says his name is Bradley, and Colin's like, "Oh my God, it's the Vampire Britannia." I'm like, again, it means nothing to me. We don't know anything about this character, so who cares? And they're going to fight. And then Bradley says something that was so freaking strange that I wrote the quote because I did not understand the fudge he was talking about. And I almost got the impression, and I could be completely wrong here, that he wanted to do like awful things to Colin, because I was like, what? Here's what he said. Hostages have only one value I care for. It seems to hold dear its own life. And while alive, one can do anything he has a whim for its body. Or for it to its body. So was he going to like... Hold on, a second. So was he going to kill her? Rape her? Like, what was the plan here exactly? What the hell was he even talking about? What a bunch of creepy stuff. Like, it's just like... It means nothing. It's like I already got the idea he's a psychopath. He's also a rapist too, or some controlled freak. Again, we don't know. But oddly enough, though, he has like 4 girls who follow him called the Valkyrie Squad. So he's somewhat redeemable, I guess, because they really respect him. Who the hell knows? It's very strange stuff. I guess maybe those girls don't know don't know his true identity, I guess, or his true intentions. Then Gino's like, dude, like I do things that are kind of weird, but did you just threaten to grape her? He's like, Gino, your family heritage is why you became Knights of the Round. He's like, no, I worked hard for it. Although Alto was kind of cool, he helped me out, my great grandfather from Reign of Darkness, but still, it was totally his own merit because you can't get that far. far because of it. Then we get to the scene where Nina asks Suzaku to put the flare on the Lancelot. Originally, Suzaku was actually going to pilot the Gurren, and then Cecile has this very adorable scene where she goes, "Well, we kind of got busy on it, and we made it really upgraded and all this cool stuff to it." And Lloyd says like it's like too modified; it can't be flown. Now, the way I interpret that scene, there's two ways you can interpret it. Either A, it's literally like it's not functional because they had to fix stuff they did when they enhanced it, or it's so powerful like the Shenhu, no one could physically pilot it because you need so much. Only the best pilot could actually do it. That's why I think Colin was the only person who could pilot it. Again, there's two ways to look at that scene. Also, Anya's taking a photo of it. It's kind of cute. She's got the camera out. And then Nina's like, this is kind of weird about Nina. I understand that people don't like her character. I completely understand. She's not one of my favorites either, okay? I'm not going to like... I mean, when I say like... Let me try it again. People don't like her character, and I get that. I do, but I recognize she's not a good person because she's literally telling Suzaku here, like, yeah, it will cause a massive explosion. And Cecile's like, you want to put that on the Lancelot? And she's like, yeah, of course. And Suzaku, you were a Euphemia's knight, so of course it has to be you. And I'm thinking, what does him being Euphemia's knight have to do with arming the Flea? He could still kill Zero in multiple different ways. It's really bizarre how she tried to... It's hilarious, right? I just thought of something, okay? Schneizel manipulated Nina by bringing up Euphemia. And then and Nina, who learned from Schneizel's manipulation, did the same thing to him by bringing up Euphemia. It's almost like a trickle-down effect here where Schneizel's manipulation almost changed Nina's personality to act like a dick too, because she also manipulated Suzaku through the same means, using the flare warhead. And Nina right now, yes, I think she's not entirely aware of what the ramifications of millions of people dying. She's not aware of it because Schneider has been like, again, manipulating her to put this together. And that's kind of where we're at in the story. So it's just funny to me how like this whole chain of manipulations, it went from like Schneizel to her, and then she did it to Suzaku. But I love Lloyd's response. Like, he goes like, but you could get blown up too. And then Nina's like, oh, crap, I didn't think about that. You never do. And they just kind of like end off with that. And like Lloyd had a good counter argument. He's like, yeah, but you could also get blown up. It's a nuclear weapon. Are you an idiot? And then Nina's like, we're not going to discuss that. Man, Lloyd is like 3 steps ahead of everyone in this story. His witty comebacks are amazing. Commercial break occurs, and then we're back on. And then we see the voting occurring. And now this is kind of interesting. I don't know what happened here. It could have been a mistake, or maybe it was what I thought it was. Where you see C2's reading, I think. I know she could read. And then she tells Lelouch goodbye. It's a very adorable scene. But here's the thing I don't understand. He had the contact lens on his eye before he left. But he takes it off and puts the helmet on to meet with the ambassadors. Did he Geass them to join the UFN? Is it like some kind of like random side story where he actually Geass the people to join the UFN? I was like wondering, like, why did he take the contact lens out? Is he planning on using it for some reason? It was, I assume that was going on here. I'll show you what I mean. It could have been a mistake in the animation. Kind of like, why did Lelouch, he took out the contact lens? Was it going to come up in a conversation? Was he afraid that the UFN leaders wouldn't? Well, they weren't UFN yet, but the different leaders of the country wouldn't join, so we had to have the Geass like a backup plan to meet with them individually. It was kind of it was kind of weird. Hold on, I can't show you footage because I'll get in trouble. It's fun stuff. Hold on. Let's see. I want just one thing here. Almost there. Okay. See right here. So you see Lelouch, and so a really cute thing. Now, see, he takes off the contact lens before he goes. And I'm like, why do you take it off for? Wouldn't you want to, like, aren't you afraid of another Euphemia event occurring? Like, do you really want to accidentally say something? All right, I know the mask opens up, so I don't know. It's very strange. I don't really explain why he did that or where it was going to lead up to, but whatever the reason was, it was a really strange scene. Now we have Tianzi working on stuff for the UFN, and of course, Shinkei's like, you could stop 8 times. He goes, no, 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 let's keep going. And then everyone else is celebrating. And okay, this is pretty funny. All right, this confirms something I was thinking about earlier. Like way like in turn, what was it, 7? About how Kaguya told C2, thank you for taking care of Zero. So basically, they were wondering where C2 was, and apparently she was sick. So Tamaki said, oh, you mean like she had a, what's it called, morning sickness? Congratulations to Papa Zero, which means that everyone knows that because C2 is Zero's mistress, they are sleeping together, and everyone thinks that's what they're doing. I assumed that was the case. I was 99% sure, but Tamaki basically proved it, that everyone thought that C2 was sleeping with Lelouch all the time as his mistress. So I think it was kind of funny. This is actually my favorite Tamaki moments because he's just being a complete drunken idiot. Although Asahina is like surprisingly happy with Zero, even though again he kind of hates him, but whatever. It is what it is. Then Chiba is taking care of Tohdoh, putting makeup on him, and we know from like the last episode, nonetheless, I think it was 15, I believe. She could have like told them then they were like in a private room in a hotel somewhere, and I guess it was in Saudi Arabia, not the best place to propose, but like she had him to herself, and she couldn't tell him, hey, want to get married after this? But no, she's like, I'll do it right now. Tohdoh, you want to get married? And then you see D-Tard and Ogi back from a very important conversation, and Tohdoh walks away. Now, what's kind of weird is that, I mean, maybe Tohdoh wasn't paying attention because, he's kind of dense. She was literally saying, hey, when this is over, you want to? And Tohdo's like, I got to go. He didn't even say to Chiba, we'll talk about this later. I mean, was he deaf in this moment? She literally said, like, hey, I want to tell you something afterwards. And he's like, oh, I'm going. And I'm thinking, huh? Is Tohdoh an idiot? He could at least say, like, hey, Chiba, you want to ask something earlier? What was that? And she goes, like, never mind. They don't even have a scene like that. That's why I put this couple in that top 10, I think it was top 5 lists for the short, because they need more time to develop. This was clearly, they could have had more scenes of, like, again, Tohdoh saying, like, hey, what do you want to tell me earlier? Or maybe she does propose to him. He says no. I don't know. Like, they don't do anything with this. It's so frustrating. All the good stuff I want, they could have done more, as opposed to like nothing, which is what's going to happen here. D-Tard's like, oh, Ogi, because he knows about Valletta. He wanted to talk to him about that too. Anyhow, we get a voting situation, and then Millie is discussing the whole ramifications of this. And what I found interesting was that she was saying how, if they unite, they'll be a powerful force against our empire. And I was thinking, wait, is Millie very patriotic to Britannia? Because I got the impression from stage 6 when they were mourning Clovis that she didn't like what Charles was saying, because she knows that he's the reason why Lelouch was banished, because she actually knows who Lelouch was. So was she saying this stuff because she has to as part of the propaganda, in the news, or does she actually believe that the empire could be crushed by this new force? So I'm not sure what her intentions are here. We see Rollo, Saiko, and a bunch of our people preparing for the battle later on to rescue Nelly. And I will definitely say, like, I didn't like Millie much in the Ashford Academy in R1. I thought some of her antics were extremely cringeworthy, especially like that. Those specific clubs and activities that were just so stupid. Basically, her and Kaguya added so much unnecessary fan service to the story. But when Millie graduates and becomes a news reporter, I love her character. It's great. It's such an organic way to have her in the story by telling you what's going on. And because it's Millie, we trust her, sort of, to tell us the right information. And she's really good at it because she's always been like it also makes sense too, because Millie's always been like a leader, and she's great public speaking skills. She doesn't always do them for the best reasons or best causes. So her becoming a reporter made perfect sense. And again, it fits her character pretty well. It's a nice stepping stone, or the next step of her character. So I loved I love her being a news reporter. It's great. I think it was a good decision to put her in that role. Anyhow, we get the voting, and it's looks like it's going well. Jeremiah calls Guilford. Actually, it was Lelouch called Guilford. It was about information concerning Cornelia, which actually makes sense. But it was actually a really good ploy to disguise the call as that, because like that's the best way to get Guilford. He loves Cornelia. He won't confess, so just like Chiba can't confess to Tohdoh, and he would love to protect her. He doesn't know what the hell happened to her. It's been who knows how long since she left, and so any information to find her would definitely get him to go meet with Lelouch. We see all the Knights around during this meeting. And I like how this part where I think it was Alicia or Anya said that, no, it was Alicia and Nina said, hey, you know what? If they create this empire, this UFN, the militaries won't work together because, well, they have their own process, obviously, their own leadership. It's going to be a bunch of rabble, and there's no real, there will be no cohesion. But then Schneider's was like, actually, there is one option, and that option is to obviously unite the whole, use the Black Knights as the military. And they see there's also a training session here for all the troops. Guilford had to like check that out before he goes to talk to before he talks to Jeremiah, or what he thinks is Jeremiah. I should specify. And then right here we get the part where they join the UFN, they find the UFN, and they say that the Black Knights are going to be the fighting force. Now, what's kind of cool is that in the original anime, they have like this role of all the positions being played. But if you get the DVD, you actually can get the English translation of it, which is right here. I have the whole footage. I got it. I burned it from the DVD disc. But here's like a part of it. It's kind of cool. You can get the actual translation. Why the dub didn't have this from the get-go is beyond me. But at least it's cool you can get it. And see, we have like Kamiyogi is General Secretary, that's a little high up there. CEO is 0, of course. I get all the positions. I don't see Colin on here, which is interesting. I know she's captured, but she still was an official, right? I guess she's not listed. Like 4th commander, 3rd is who's that? Indra Tharor? I don't know who that is. Maybe it's someone in the Chinese Federation. I don't know. I guess these are people from I don't know who these people are. They never like. How is Nagisa behind someone we've never seen before? Whatever. I love this part where Can's like, see, Schneider, the other idea, right? Well, it was a nice little funny scene where Schneider was like, see, the other idea. And Can, of course, they both knew what was going to happen. It was a cool scene. They also decide to go in and take over free Japan, and everyone agrees to it. Hence, the battle for Tokyo 2 is about to begin. And then Charles appears, and he's like, actually, no, before I get to Charles, one quick thing I noticed. All right. When Rakshata talks to, after Lucius, we're going to like free Japan, right? Rakshata whispers quietly to Ogi saying, we can also rescue Colin and the Gurren too. And Ogi's like, oh yeah, we should do that too. And this is, again, more proof. When I said in my Lelouch, Who Do He Love video, I mentioned how Colin was not a priority. This is an example of that. The fact that Rakshata is discussing Colin's rescue in an undertone to Ogi, and Ogi's like, oh yeah, we could do that too, as if he forgot about it, tells me that Zero forgot about her too. Or it wasn't a top priority. Because if it was, wouldn't Zero be discussing this with everyone else? Like, there's so many subtle hints in the story where you can tell that Colin was not something Lelouch had on his mind at all times. Like, when the episode first started, Lelouch is literally in his room discussing how, because Charles is now dead, even though that's not what happened, and Lelouch knew that, but whatever, because he's dead, Nolly's safe. He never once thought anytime during this whole episode, once we invade Japan, we can rescue Colin. Rakshata had to bring it up in a side conversation with Ogi. And again, Ogi was kind of surprised. Kento, that's a weird expression. Detail's like, I don't even know who Colin is. He does know, but his expression's like, I don't care. It's kind of funny. That's all I'm saying. Kind of funny. Then Charles appears on the monitors. We have no idea how he escaped the Sword of Akasha. And Zero's only response is, oh my god, how is he still alive? No. How is he still trapped? It's not about if he was alive or dead. We knew he can't die. He's immortal. It's how did he escape the Sword of Akasha? Unless Lelouch fired at the floor and he fell down on the bottomless pit or something, which could have happened, by the way. I've always wondered in Sword of Akasha, if you like fall off that platform, it's like a bottomless pit or something, or is it one of those things where like you'll like go down and you'll like come to the top ceiling or something. That'd be kind of funny, actually. Like in Portal, But anyways, whatever the case may be, Charles appears, and Charles like, was this some kind of game you were playing? Who the hell knows? And then Charles, says, Zero, are you going to challenge me? And what's kind of funny, they obviously can't. It's a bit of a plot hole, I guess. Why doesn't he just say Lelouch? He knows Lelouch is Zero. Why keep it a secret? Who's he keeping a secret from exactly? It's a little bizarre. He doesn't say Lelouch instead of Zero. I'm not sure why he would not do. I know, like, from a meta perspective, they don't know until that one episode and turn 19. But what I'm wondering is, why wouldn't Charles just say, hey, Lelouch, you're going to come challenge me or something? He doesn't say Lelouch. He says Zero the whole time. I'm not really sure what the benefit is of keeping the secret from everyone else. There is none. In fact, if he had said Lelouch, that would destroy the whole. That would probably ruin everything. There'd be a whole. You know what? Now I say that, I don't even know if that's really the case or not. But it definitely would cause some concern, and I'll explain later what I mean when we get to that part of this episode. Because there is discussion about the whole Lelouch revealing his identity. But the fact that Charles doesn't bring it up is kind of weird. I like how he insults the UFN by saying, like, all you've done is, like, you dirt the ground, you're all worthless. But Charles' speech was so savage. My God. We don't get much of Charles in this story, but man, that was such a savage speech. How the UFN's a bunch of worthless nations, and you made it easy for us to conquer you guys. You're all screwed. It was freaking beautiful. And Zero's like, he's walking away from, like, he's walking backwards in this scene, and everyone's like, what's wrong, dude? It's like he's almost terrified. To be fair, look at Charles. I'd be scared too. And Toh's like, long live Japan, and they're like, long live Britannia. It's nice little back and forth. The two military factions about to go to war. There's a great scene of, like, the whole, the military force under Guilford. It was kind of cool. Then Lelouch goes back to his chambers in the Ikaruga. And this is the part I was just referring to earlier. So he's trying to think what to do to stop Charles. He contemplates a couple things. One, telling the Black Knight his identity. Two, using Cornelia in some manner. Even though it might have worked, he was thinking like Charles wouldn't care about her being a hostage. And on some respect, he might be right, because Cornelia and Charles have like nothing in the story in terms of like any kind of relationship that we know of. But here's the thing that Lelouch gets wrong, and we know he gets wrong. He thinks if he tells the Black Knight he's a Britannian prince, they're going to rebel against him or something, or he's going to lose them. No, that's not what's going to happen. If you remember in the episode, Turn 19, they didn't rebel against Lelouch because he was a Britannian prince. They didn't care about that. What bothered them was the Geass. And not even the fact that he had the Geass power. It was the fact that he used it on them, which he didn't even do that, by the way. But they thought he might have. He used it. I mean, he used it against the Japanese people, but he didn't Geass any of the Black Knight members. So they were angry at the fact that he used the Geass on them. It was not the fact that he had Geass or the fact that he was a Britannian prince. That was concerning, but that was not what got them to betray him. It was the Geass use on their own people. The Saz massacre was definitely not something that helped in Lelouch's favor. So if he just told them, hey, I'm a Britannian prince, they would have been like, that's really weird, but Taizo did say you had a grudge against the Empire, so that kind of makes sense. And they would have probably been cool with it on some level. I don't think that would have caused a rebellion amongst all the Black Knight members. I could be wrong, but when I watched that episode again, it had nothing to do with Lelouch being a Britannian, specifically a royal prince. That was not the issue they had. It was the fact they had Geass power and used it on them. That's what caught everyone to go against him. The recording, the Ogi's testimony with Alea's testimony. So I think he could have told them. I think it would have been totally fine. Then he, C2 adorably says, hey, I said you one piece of pizza. And Lelouch smacks her in the plate off her hand, which caused her to cut and bleed. It's funny because he told her in the first part of the episode, he said, I will never hurt you. And then he hurts her in the episode. So I thought it was kind of like ironic. And he tries to, patch her up. And she says, it's not so bad. I get cut up all the time. It looks like all the time. And she goes, yeah, bleeding on the outside is fine because I feel warm on the inside or whatever, which is really sad. Like, everything she says here is so depressing. So there's symbolism here. We see the blood on the king piece. I guess there's some symbolism there because, Lelouch is hurting. And again, he tells her, what should I do? And C2 talks about friends, and she never had a friend, but if she did, they probably would help you out. They're always there for you. Which again shows how sad C2's life was before Lelouch rescued her. I mean, before she became a code user, Geass user, then a code user. It just shows you like how bad it was. Like she had no friends, and she going to discuss a hypothetical matter. She got cut all the time, and she was beaten. What a lovely life, existence. Then Lelouch calls up Suzaku. He wants his help, and he's like, "Ugh, are you Zero?" And he's like, "Yes, of course. You lied to me, but please, you must help. I'll do anything." He goes, "Fine, we'll meet up, but just you at the Kururi Shrine." And Lelouch is like, "Fine." Suzaku is had enough of his crap, but he agrees to meet up with him anyways, and that's how the episode ends. The next one is when they all meet up. The error notes I have here that I thought was kind of weird. Um, let's see. I think that's everything I had. Um. Oh, here's another question I was kind of concerned about. How does C2 know English or the modern English? I can understand why she might know because she like when before she loses her memories, it makes sense because she probably learned over time. But if she goes back to the way she was before she lost, before she got the Geass power, which if just just for some like timetables, that's like 600 years ago, roughly 400 to 600 years ago. The way she's talking is not. She wouldn't be speaking like that. It's kind of bizarre. Again, like I said at the beginning of this whole this episode discussion, like they don't really go full on with C2 going back to the way she was. They just keep the child innocence and the abuse she took as a or the memories of the abuse she took as a slave, but they don't play around with the whole idea that she doesn't understand technology or that she can't speak the correct English. Like it would have been kind of funny. Like her language wasn't she wouldn't speak the same type of English as Lucia would be speaking because obviously it's been 600 years since. They could have played around that better. I think the thing I wanted to say about this episode, it's it's not the best. It's pretty good, but there's just certain parts that like really upset me, especially the whole thing with Cornelia. That was just wow. I mean, you talk about like not only do you do her character dirty, but you don't even make it doesn't even make any sense within context of the story. All right, we got a lot of damn, we got a lot of comments. Let's go through these pretty quick. All right, these two episodes are good. All episodes of Code Geass are good. I don't entirely agree. I think most are good. Um, what's up? What's up, Neozoic? Welcome. What if question first one? What if Colin learned Zero's identity earlier on at stage 11 during her first encounter with C2? How would that change the story relation, etc.? If she knew early on about Lucia's identity, I would say, what would that do if Colin learned about it? Well, she suspected. If she knew, um, I think it'd been fine actually. I think Colin's biggest problem is that he didn't tell her. That's why she was upset with him, among other reasons. There would no. I think it would have been fine. There would have been no problem if she if he told her. That probably been better off anyways. I think she should have known. The fact that he didn't tell her was probably the issue there. I don't see too many differences. Maybe Colin would have been closer to Lelouch and C2, but on that I don't see too many differences. I gotta really think about it more thoroughly. But yeah, I agree. For the longest time, I didn't really see two was the narrator. I thought it was the person. Yeah, it is C2. It was again. It was a nice little subtle thing about the story. I really liked how they played around with that. Dogman had and C2 both got immortality against their wills. They both became supernatural beings. They both hated humanity, wanted to leave because of the way they were treated. But Dogman's overall arc was much different because he left the world to make his own. A spoiler, I guess. He left the world to make his own nations, I guess, or species. Who the heck knows? Dogman was a much different creature. C2 doesn't take her clothes off, so she obviously keeps some of her humanity. But they both were abandoning it as they got older because they realized they weren't human anymore. There's some similarities for sure, but different overall endings. That definitely would be the case. The king of Zilkstan in the real world was Northeast India. Why is his royal siblings white blondes? Maybe there was. Well, first of all, maybe in this universe, maybe the person who got in charge of it was they went through colonization. Perhaps, I mean that's what happened. I don't know. I'm not going to question anything in this story in terms of like hair colors and stuff because I mean, how would I put this? I mean, we have purple hair people in this story, so the siblings Luke cared about were the ones he fought. It's the ones he killed. That's the tragedy. True. I think Cecile might have had a minor title. There's a scene where Suzaku, where he's launching the Lancelot, and he replies to Cecile, "Yes, my lord." No, he does say that. That's true. I thought that was more of a generic thing, like just the Empire. Yes, my lord. I don't think he was specifically referring to Cecile as my lord. It was more like I thought that like the what I thought it meant was he was referring to like Britannia as a whole. I didn't think it actually meant like Cecile specifically, but I could be right. During Oz's reflection, there was a Britannian terrorist organization that wanted to revolt against her royal family. Many organizations were formed to hate Britannia. Okay, well, I haven't read fully the manga, so I'm just saying like there was something going on, and the story doesn't bring it up. That's my point. But yes, I know there was more going on there. It's well known that the ways many of Lucius' dozen if 100 siblings looked down on him, and not because there was a mother born of a commoner, like many things siblings would not have liked. I'm not sure what the context was with this, but yes, that's true. That's why Lucius thought that the killing of his mother was an inside job, or the murder of his mother was an inside job. To be fair for the writer, they had a lot of characters to deal with, so pushing Cornelia to silent made sense. Cornelia was meant to be a supporting antagonist. She was even an antagonist in the story. She did absolutely nothing in the story. You can't even call her an antagonist because she doesn't antagonize Lelouch. She literally helped him fight against V2, and then that's it. That's her whole role in the story. Then she tried to like take out Schneisel, but it made no sense. Like if she had this like change of heart that she was against Britannian philosophy and their whole way of doing things, then they should have explained that in the story, like when that change happened. Was it because of Geass? Is that why she hates Charles? Did she know Charles even dealt with Geass? I'm not saying you had to give her a lot of time, but you didn't give her any time. So when she does stuff in the story, there's no rhyme or reason for it. That's the problem with it. You can't just say, like, okay, I'm going to give her a bunch of plot information without explaining where it came from because we have to get her up to speed. But we don't show you how she came up to speed. We don't show you why she had change of opinion on like Britannian rule. Like, why would she not be okay with Schneisel blowing people up with the flare warheads? She was okay with Britannia doing other awful things in the military. She was in the military for a long time. She's been conquering nations for a very long time. She has no issues killing lots of people. So, what is about Schneisel's plan that went against her own philosophy? Even her quote when she said when she says conquering people isn't peace or something. I think what she said, something of that nature. Yeah, but isn't that what you were supporting for years? So why do you not support it anymore? What changed exactly? And she didn't really explain it. The story wants you to do it for them. That's the problem. You can have a character get sidelined, even though I think that's ridiculous considering how awesome Cornelia is. But fine, sideline her, but you still have to explain how we got to this point, where Cornelia is going, something like that. Her arc is basically incomplete. Even Resurrection, it was still incomplete. It was just really frustrating stuff. I can't defend the writers here. It was an awful decision the way they handled her. Side note, there were two siblings that didn't have to care about him, and then he didn't want to fight them. One being Odysseus. I think one was Odysseus. That's true. Not all siblings hated him. I think Maribel liked Lelouch too. I could explain things, perhaps. I could explain things, perhaps try to fix things, or I guess like an a-hole. A-hole it is. Yeah, pretty much. Maribel, who was also going to turn with him, but the once he loved and cherished were now the Chloe mentors. Yeah, I mean, I think Chloe liked him too. Cornelia marred the parent. That's also true. This character was wasted. Plus, Lelouch couldn't have learned about Orpheus, the Peace Mark, and other Geass user in another organization, and he hates Britannia. Exactly. There was you could have just hinted the organization existed. You didn't have to even say their names. Like, let's say, I love stories where they'll open up a character or create a character, and they kind of leave it open ended for something else to happen. Like in Stack Shock, they made a robot called Zeta, I believe. I think it was Stack Shock. I think it was Stack Shock or Bam Beyond, one of those stories. And there's a thing called Zeta. Zeta could turn to different it had the ability to clone. Not clone. It didn't clone. It could take the appearance of any other human being. It was obviously cybernetics and stuff, and they made a whole show called the Zeta Project. That was kind of cool. They introduced a character and they gave it a spin-off story. Or in Doctor Who, they made Torchwood, which was based on something happened in the story with Russell T Davis's thing, or the Sarah Jane Chronicles. They did a good job of in those cases where you open the door for something and then you expand on it. There was no open the door here. It was just yeah, of course Cornelia knows about Geass. Of course she knows I have Geass. Of course. Why would she not know that? No one. It's not like we didn't tell her earlier. We did tell her. You just didn't see it on screen. So F you, I guess. So stupid. Probably. They could have explained that, though. Hey, Greta, did you want to talk? Go to hell, Luge. Did you want to talk about Geass? No. You want to talk about Euphemia? Greta gets a finger. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Euphemia, who loved and cherished, I don't even need to talk about how tragic that was. The one, no, yeah. I mean, yeah, it was tragic, but also poorly handled. Charles is the main antagonist, but he wasn't involved in the plot that much in R1, so they had to get Cornelia out of the way to give him focus. They could have worked together. As I said before, you could have had Charles working the OSI with no. Cornelia could have been the OSI instead of Valletta working with Charles. That's all you had to do. The fact that Valletta got more character and screen time than Cornelia is insane. They took a minor character like Valletta, who, no offense to her, I don't care as much as Cornelia, and they gave Valletta more time on screen because she had some kind of relationship with Ogie. So what? They could have had Guilford and Cornelia developed as a couple if you wanted to go that route. So stupid. He was forced to use the Geass and lie to all and seemed like they were really close. All right, I don't want to read all. There's like so many comments. Lelouch fought the ones that loved him. He had to. Yes, that's true. College involved more in R2. I can't argue that. It should have been. Absolutely. I think Cornelia first heard about Geass from Suzaku at the end of R1. Did she? I you know what? Here, let's find out. I don't remember that, but I can look it up really quick if my internet decides to work. Uh-oh. That's not good. I think my That's weird. It's really weird. I couldn't yeah, that's bizarre. My computer was locked up for like 2 seconds. They're like, uh-oh, that's not good. Give me a second, I'll look it up. Because I'm pretty sure, like, if I hinted to Geass, I don't remember that conversation occurring. And if it did occur, it should have been more profound. Like, it should have been more obvious. Give me a second here. Oh, I should probably read the whole thing. 1 second. Give me a second. I don't remember this, but maybe I'm misremembering, which happens. You know, it happens from time to time. But I don't recall when Suzaku went to go and rescue Cornelia. She mentioned she gave him a new title change. I remember that, and she also gave him. She also had to go after Zero. I don't remember anything else. I mean, if you claim it happened, I'll take your word for it, but I really don't remember that. And why can I not find the website? My stupid computer. 1 second here. Hold up. Let's see. Stage, I don't know, 25 transcripts. That's not it. It's a wow, what happened to it? What the fudge? And for some reason I can't. Hold on a second. I don't know why I can never find it in one of my browsers. Okay, 1 second. All right, I'm not gonna look it up this way. I don't know why I couldn't find another one. Okay, so I'm going to stage 25 where this is supposedly what happened, and we're gonna see what happened. The very end, right? Okay. Well, not the very end, but close. Okay, let's see. Go after Zero. Understood. Okay, so before that. Okay. So he comes down there and she says, "Buys vigil my forces. Am I clear? You had to find I was wounded. I'm all upset that girlfriend, the glass of nights. You don't want to tell. Don't try to talk to anyone. Come out. That's where Lelouch that's Zero headed. A more of that is no use. I can't remember. Geass. You're Euphemia's knight, aren't you? Then you must clear her name and dishonor me." She said Geass. Suzaku said Geass. And then she said I dubbed the informal knight or something. Okay. So basically what you're telling me is, what you're saying is that because Suzaku dropped it. Now, granted, I don't know if he actually said Geass or if he was singing it out loud. Because again, I'm reading a transfer. I can't tell you if he actually said the words Geass. But that is not a sufficient way to get Cornelia to start looking into what Geass is. And if it is, that's a very lazy way to do it. Let me see if I can find the actual part where she's talking to him. I might have the clip of it. Let me just see one more thing. Because if that's how they drop Geass in Cornelia, and that's how she learns about it, that has to be one of the laziest ways ever. If it really led to what it supposedly led to. Hold on. You know what? I got an idea. Give me a second here. I will load the episode in subbed because I have it subbed. I'll take a look. I can't play the audio, but I'm wondering if he actually said if he was singing Geass or he said it out loud. Because if he was singing it, then that don't count. So give me like 2 seconds here to find it. It was right. Okay, let's see. Your Yuffie's don't talk anymore. Comet Island, that's where Zero is headed. Okay. Any more than that, I cannot remember. Okay. He says out loud Geass, Yuffie's knight, aren't you? And that's it, he leaves. Okay, so he says out loud Geass. So I will agree that he said Geass out loud to Cornelia. So I guess that's how they're going to retcon that she learned about it. But here's the important part, though. Even if Suzaku said the word Geass, right? Well, let's say that was the case. Lelouch wasn't there at that point. He already left. So he should still be wondering how she learned about it. And Cornelia could say, Suzaku told me. So there you go. The story had an answer. It didn't even go to it. But again, like, you still have to explain, like, okay, one, Cornelia has to remember what Suzaku said, right? He said it once, and he wasn't even talking to her directly. He was saying out loud. So she recovers from the hospital maybe weeks later, and she remembers Geass. But where she go from there? You still have to explain how we get there, or how she knew it Geass was a power. All she learned from Suzaku was that there's something called Geass. That's it. Very vague. You can't say because of that vague mention for Suzaku, therefore Cornelia somehow learned what it was. That's not good enough. And the worst part is I had to go back and find that because I don't remember that scene. It wasn't very obvious. You can't have scenes like that contain important information and throw like a little subtle hints there. You can't do that. It's not the good way to tell your story. So I see your point there. It's not good enough though. I think you're saying the same point. Chazzo seems almost probably which way he defeats him. I guess so. He also killed their parents. But yeah. She seems to warm back to Lelouch. Yeah, kind of. Which was kind of strange to me because there was no reason for that. But yeah, she does. That's true. Yeah, Lelouch, V2 was pretty evil. Why didn't Colin try to save after beating Suzaku? Why don't you stop beating him up? Why don't they have a conversation? Why she's doing something? Do something. I don't know. Like, don't try to make sense of the story. They did Colin dirty. But she could have been though. There were a lot of things. They had a lot of moments. They had to finish up her character. One, her identity as a Britannian half breed, Japanese Britannian half breed. The thing about her mother that could have been brought up, and I guess the romance between Lelouch and Colin could have been. They could have done that better because when they had their conversation in turn, was it 2? It didn't go anywhere. It was what a waste. I don't want to talk about it. I'm gonna get really upset if I talk about it more than I already am. C2, Lelouch, should we tell BK why Jim Marlon to BK Lelouch? No, C2. You know BK will be more distrust. Why do they think dictator? No. Yeah, it's bad. It's kind of bad. They all had deep stuff on screen. They had all this deep stuff off screen. We could have had the cute stuff. Wait, hold on. They had all the so we could only have the cute stuff. Yeah, exactly. They should have done a reverse. I don't mind the cute stuff with the C2, but we needed more to really about what's going on in the background. I think the Japanese version of this episode, Bradley makes a joke about how Suzaku is supposedly flirting with Anya. Even with a cruel joke, but happy that she's guy ships Suzaku Anya. Yeah, but if Bradley ships it, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, something like that. But he also that's right. He's kind of a freak. Suzaku actually forgets immediately about Anya's memory loss thanks to Bradley interference. Suzaku seems to think more about the here and now. You know what? It's not just Suzaku. So many characters in a story are about to do something and they literally forget about it the next second. Like Lelouch was going to ask Charles about what happened to Marion, and ultimately he forgets about it once he became immortal. He never asked her again. He didn't even ask Cornelia either, which okay, one more thing about the Cornelia, and I think I might stop ranting about this. One more thing about it. He wanted to ask Cornelia what happened to his mother, right? And he asked her, and she didn't give him enough information. How come when he talks to her again, they don't discuss it further? Like maybe there were some things that Cornelia didn't think about back then, or maybe she learned something new since R1 and told Lelouch information or something. He doesn't even bother to ask her about that information. He just kind of forgets about it. Like this dude spent most of R1 to have a private conversation with Cornelia and take her prisoner. He has her prisoner now. They can have a private conversation anytime he wants, and they don't have it. God, what a waste. All right. I'm calm now. For now. Oh my god. Even Oz's reflection, Bradley gets a lot more development. Absolutely. They all do. Reading Lancelot and Gurren, I feel like Suzaku should have killed Bradley. They seem to be more beef with each other instead of Colin basically one-shotting him. Yeah, Colin had like absolutely no reason to kill him except that maybe Bradley like hinted he was gonna rape her, but even then, like there's no that's just speculation. I think Brad was being very abusive to his subordinate. I saw a picture of him being physical with Marika. Not a nice way. Eesh. Marika, yeah, he took advantage of her because she wanted to help her brother, kill. Hey, Gino, why did you guys get hired a crazy psychopath in our ranks? Gino, honestly, I have no clue. Ani Marion. Maybe my husband. I mean, Charles was a clueless. Yeah, basically. Suzaku gang in the cockpit of the Gurren. How does Colin fight like this? It's so uncomfortable. Why do I feel so exposed? Yeah, can you imagine? That'd been so funny. Who's Lelouch was not seeing with C2? No, he. Oh, I see what you're saying. I mean, he might have been there in that bed in that one episode, but the point is, everyone the Black Knights assumed that they were. Yeah, they could have been. It's very true. There's no evidence either way. I don't know about. I don't know because I don't wear contact lenses, but they can be irritating at times. I guess that's why he took it off. But yeah, but why would he have it on? Whatever. I'm not. Oh, I see. Because he was. Oh, that could be why. I guess it just seemed kind of weird. Tohdoh walked away intentionally, in my opinion. He always avoids Chiba. Probably, yeah, that's probably true. Millie was reading from a teleprompter. Yeah, but I still wonder if, like, true, but exactly, that's the point. If she's reading from a teleprompter, then she has to say this information. She has to spread propaganda about the Britannian Empire instead of being more, like, I guess, balanced. Because she was saying, like, if they form, they'll be a threat to us. That's a very militaristic, patriotic way of putting it. Instead of saying, like, when they form the UFN, there'll be two world powers going forward, and that's it. She said, like, they'll form and they can be a threat to us. That was, I believe, that was her wording, something of that nature. That's the point I was making. Yeah, of course, that's the point. She was reading a teleprompter. I want to say I like you, Tohdoh. Sorry, Chiba, but I'm married to my katana. Well, that's my theory. Yeah, pretty much. It's more likely Britannia requires your poorest to be patriotic to a certain degree. Exactly. That's what I think was happening there. Bradley's what I expected Charles to be in this sense. There's an evil character with no redeeming quality. Bradley worked as a character to root against, but he's not interesting as Charles. Not even close. Agreed. There's no development, so why would you care? Fanfic always shows Millie despising Britannia since Charles stripped her family of their title and lands after Marion was assassinated. Yeah, lands after. Yeah, I read that. Well, the space for sure. The world preparing for the next global war. Australia. I'm staying out of this mess. Facts. I can't see Charles allowing free speech in Britannia, much less allow reporters to say negative critique in his reign. I agree. I think what Millie was saying was basically propaganda, and she was repeating it over the airway or the news, the TV. Yeah, airway. That's like right. It's weird that Zero called himself CEO. It's like we're a corporation on militarization. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird. I don't know. It's kind of funny, but yeah, I agree. It's kind of weird. I guess maybe because Britannia Empire doesn't want people to talk about negativity about their own empire, kind of like the Chinese Federation Communist Party or Chinese Communist Party. Yeah, No, it's fine. See, this is the thing. This is totally relevant to what we're discussing. That's a good parable, and obviously they're bringing in real life stuff into here too, so it makes sense. Black Knights will liberate Japan. Colin, rescue me, right? Yeah, we'll save you, Colin. It's Colin. You know that whole like I should make a meme at the end of this. The whole Colin Anakin was like, and you're gonna rescue me, right? Right? So it's basically like Lucius gonna say, we're going to invade Japan, and then Colin will be like, and rescue me, right? Right? Because like Russia had to bring it up as like a side note. It was kind of funny. CEO exists in militaries. Okay. I'm not an expert in war, so I wouldn't know about that stuff. Charles might not be a bad guy, but he respects his son enough not to reveal his secret identity. I don't know. To me, they should have explained why he wouldn't do that. Yeah, they probably should explain that. Charles even roasted Akito to exile. Yeah, it's funny he did. That's true. Um, it's very true. Charles with the biggest come at me, bro. This guy is raw. Dad Radrock guy, he ruined everything. Yeah, exactly. Like if there was, man, I agree because Charles it could have been interesting, and they ruined him. So annoying. Like they wanted Lelouch and Schneisel to be the main event, and everyone else was kind of like secondary, and that kind of bothered me because really Charles should have been the main antagonist from day one, and maybe Schneisel could have been a secondary antagonist because from episode one, Lucius' goal was to stop Charles, not Schneisel. He had no beef against Schneisel until later on in the story, and even then, he didn't really manifest until what later on in R2. So either way you look at it, Charles was really the guy that should have been the final boss, if you will. Honestly, Zero to spend the Black Knights across the world to drum up capital force would be very cool. Yeah, would have been. Um, during betrayal, did they question? They were angry, surprised, learning as a prince. They did question. They weren't angry about it, but again, what broke the straw that broke the camel's back was when they mentioned how they use Geass on them. Because Detard's like, it doesn't matter, okay? If he has these powers, we're good. Detard literally was keeping everyone kind of on his side until the Saz was brought up, and then everyone was like, okay, Lucian's not good anymore. We're going to leave him. That's the difference. What's a PMC? Did I say PMC? I don't know what the context what that was. Did someone else say PMC? I don't remember saying PMC. If I did, I don't remember what the context was. Private Military Corporation. Okay, thank you. I'm glad someone mentioned it. How do you heal pain inside C2? You turn to friends. Yes, a friend. I can always manipulate them. C2. What? What? Yeah, it's true. I don't get why he's lying. It's such a problem here. They're enemies. It's natural they'd lie. It's a culture thing in Japan about being honorable or foes or something. I think it's more they're friends. If it was like anyone else, you probably would be right. I think that his episode could be seen as I'm going to get back together with him. Okay, I'm not going there. Well, I'm sure Cable's military ego is a terrible combo. It's not the greatest for sure. Alternate timeline where the colonists failed the Revolutionary War. It could have started a chain reaction where somehow the English became default language by the country. Yeah, it could have been. People generally feel hurt and betrayed when people lie to them. Plus, it can come across as arrogance when they justify by saying, "I'm doing it for the greater good." Yeah, that's a good point. Suzaku, I need your help. Suzaku, no, Lelouch. Why? Suzaku, because you kill Yuffie and I hate your guts. Lelouch is about Nunnally. Suzaku, okay, fine. We'll meet at the Great Shine. Yeah, it's very true. If Lelouch knew about Zero, or if Colin knew Lelouch was Zero earlier, she would have killed Suzaku in stage 25. Maybe. You know what? That probably could have happened. Again, I have to think about it further. But yeah, that's true. That's very true. They also were friends, enemies. They had a love-hate relationship. So you guys still go back and forth from that. If C2 is Dr. Manhattan, Zero is Rorschach, Sazo is Ozymandias. I think Lucius is more so an Ozymandias than Schneisel is. But I can definitely see the similarities for sure. Who be Night Owl, still Spectre and Comedian? Night Owl is probably Ogie, because I don't like Night Owl. Still Spectre, it's either, C2. No, not C2. Valletta, I guess. Yeah, we'll say Valletta is Silk Spectre. It makes no sense because the other hand, C2 and Valletta had no relationship. The comedian is Bradley. I don't know. That's a good question. I got to think about that. Who'd be the comedian? And there's someone who's like not funny like Tamaki, but like Tamaki isn't dark, so it doesn't work. R2 and Better Cornelia was either killed in the Black Rebellion or her subplot bringing down the whole Geass or could be its own series. Probably trained human versus superhumans. Yeah, they didn't really do much with it. Kyle will be Silk Spectre, Suzaku will be the Night Owl, and I'll be the comedian. I kind of liked it better than what I was saying. They could have given Cornelia an OVA series like Akito. There's so much they could have done. Yeah, everyone gets their own OVA series or something like that. When you said about Charles and Cornelia working together, it would be awesome. Such a shame they never got seen together. Yeah, wouldn't it be cool if Cornelia turns on her monitor and then she's talking to Charles and Charles like, "How are you progressing, getting C2?" And Cornelia's like, "This will stop Geass, right?" Of course it'll stop Geass. Obviously, Cornelia. And C2 gave Lelouch his Geass power. We must stop her. I know you're angry with Lelouch, but work with me here to get him to bring C2, and I will help you and clear Yuffie's name and all that fun stuff. And Cornelia's like, and Cornelia says, "You promise?" "Of course I promise. That's what we're going to do." And deep down, we know Charles is using her grief against her to manipulate her. That would have been so good. Why would you put Valletta in the situation? No one cared about Valletta. She was a random, no offense, a random woman, a Britannian officer who had a love relationship with Ogi after being concussed and then having memory issues. I mean, she's attractive looking. That's it. No offense to Valletta. I don't hate her character. Well, I kind of do. I go back and forth, but she's not my favorite. Not even close. And she didn't get as much development as Cornelia did, but she gets more episodes, more screen time than Cornelia did in the story. What the fudge? Goes something like Cornelia, "It's no use. I can't remember Suzaku Geass." It's vague but possible. Yeah, it's not good. You gotta really explain it. Yeah, I just checked it too. This is kind of old, but yeah, I did check it. Suzaku could have had scenes together. He could have cleared Yuffie's name and worked for the Emperor, who had Geass. Cornelia could have called him out. He never loved Yuffie. There were so many things they could have done. Cornelia had imagine if Cornelia worked with Lelouch and they both led the Black Knights together in some weird twist to stop the Ragnarok connection. How cool would that have been to have Cornelia on Lelouch's side, or they're equal partnerships? So they're both leading the Black Knights. So Cornelia takes over a lot of the operations, so Lelouch doesn't have to deal with them. That would be kind of cool. And then Guilford joins them too because he wants to be with Cornelia. So you have Tohdoh and Guilford working together, and Cornelia and Lelouch are in the battlefield leading the troops. That would have been so cool. But no, we can't get that. We just can't get that crap. I wasn't defending him. I just want to be more info. No, I know, dude. I know. I'm just be technical. I know that. I think C2 is similar to Rollo since both a girl and their brother helped. Heck, both Charles and Lelouch tried to kill them because of it. Yeah, that's true. I'm watching the scenes with Suzaku, Anya Bradley, and the Japanese version. Bradley says, "Suzaku, I see you're still very skilled at making the ladies fall for you." Oh, I guess the dub was maybe that's what they said too, but it was just I don't know, wasn't the greatest. I like Lucario. I think it's Luciano. Since he's Suzaku is honest with himself, I wonder how the school festival would have played out if Lucario was there with Gino and Anya. Well, first of all, he wouldn't be there because if you don't know or not, Bradley is 31 years old. Gino and Anya are high school age. Well, actually, Anya's 14, I believe, and Gino is 16. So Bradley couldn't even go to school. He's 31, unless he wanted to be a teacher. Can you imagine? "Hey, guys, welcome to Bradley class." Bradley class. 9 of 10. I'm going to teach you guys how to throw knives at people. I see you have a question. Yes? What value does this serve in life? It serves no value. It's boring. If you ever want to play darts, I'll teach you how with daggers. Okay. I mean, he had to be a teacher or something, or assistant, like Valletta, or I don't know. Bradley teaches art. He's actually really good at it. Just him and Clovis together. If Charles revealed his identity, then there's a chance a kid in C2 would be killed, thus he couldn't use the Ragnarok. I guess that's true. We do a fanfiction suggested. Yeah, maybe. The problem with this fanfiction is that I gotta be 100%, 100. I guess honest. I'm always honest. I'm always honest. That's what an honest person would say, right? No, but let me the problem with making fun videos. I could maybe do an article, but I'm not sure I can do a video because YouTube kind of sucks in the sense that people who are subscribed to your channel don't watch all your videos, not because they don't want to watch your videos, but because YouTube won't recommend the videos if not enough people click on it immediately. So if I made this one video about this random fanfic, what's going to happen is you'll click on it, of course, and maybe 10, 20 other people will as well, but it'll get such a low reception that it won't, like, no one's gonna watch the video, and I'll end up wasting like 10 hours on it. 'Cause I put a lot of time in my videos. It maybe doesn't always look like it, but I really spend a lot of time drafting it, the script, editing, trying to find creative ways to present information, and making sure everything lines up so it's a coherent narrative I'm trying to express. And basically, what I'm trying to say is, like, YouTube sucks. That's why I can't do it. An article is definitely a possibility. A video, I don't know. Definitely not. At least right now. Lelouch is my friend. How dare you? My friend lied to me. ATM's liar. You're a mistake. It was a mistake. Yeah, it's true. They're all sent to the worst prison for young women. Yeah, yep. I know. We could talk about it on another time, I suppose. Cornelia hardly even brings up Charles. It'd be great to know how they. Yeah, I don't know. They don't say much about her. The only counter I have to this statement here is that in turn 6, when Charles is giving his epic speech about inequality, and Britannia supremacy, I had a burp there. I got faked out by my own body. But during that episode, Cornelia was in awe of, like, Charles' speech. Her eyes were glowing. She loved everything he was saying. So I would argue that maybe she doesn't like him, but she was in awe of what he was saying. So there is definitely that. I think we got a couple more and we're done. It'd be more interesting if they made a spin-off series, Code Geass, like the Clone Wars. Yeah, for sure. Well, that's what Oz Reflection could have been if they decided to animate it. Bradley is 31. Does the guy have a lot of things to pick on minors? Oh, I forgot what I'm talking about. This is Code Geass. It's like, no offense, but it's a lot of pedophilia is in this story for some reason. Or not a lot, but there's like hints of it. Especially Kaguya's and her bullshit. But anyhow, let's move on to episode 17 now, since we've gone through all the comments. And keep them coming too. I love reading this stuff. All right, so let's get into that. Let me... 17 was pretty cool. Kind of messy though, because there's a lot of death. Because Shinkei is leading his forces against. Okay. Okay, so nice trick by Lelouch to bait Guilford. Yeah, basically the very beginning of the episode. I don't know why I don't have it here. It always happens, but there's a part where very early on you see Guilford in a warehouse, and when you see him in the warehouse, Lelouch talks to something. I got important information about Cornelia. Well, that's what got Guilford to go there, and he uses Geass on him instead, which we'll get to later on in the episode. Hold on, I have like a bunch of tabs opened. What is all this crap? What's this? Oh, okay. All right. Sorry about that. Okay, so we see the battle taking place between the Black Knight forces and the Britannia. They're trying to land on the port to start the invasion. Shinkei's leading the forces. He's doing the best he can, but obviously he can't fight against the Knights of the Round, which they do mention later on in the episode. And the Knights of the Round also join this battle. And Kaguya and Bismarck both explain how, like, whoever wins this thing basically wins the whole game. Because again, if Japan, like, is conquered, then only nations are going to follow through and join Britannia. I mean, the UFN. But if the Britannia wins, then they're going to put all their forces around the world. Because apparently, and I could be wrong here, but I think the Black Knights sent all their forces into Japan, which was kind of weird to me. Because if they did that, does that mean like they have a large force to begin with? I figured they merged with our military organizations to take their troops. So how did they send all their troops to Japan and they still almost lost to Britannia? I don't know. It's kind of weird. 18 is a great episode. Actually, one of my favorites. But they should have done more. Like when Colin joins the battle, it kind of ends in a very strange way with the flail warhead. It could have been done a lot better. But anyhow, we're not even. That's way far ahead. That's just the thing I'm thinking about. Anyhow, so we see Lelouch, and he's coming up these stairs. He thinks about Suzaku and how they're past together. How when he first met him. This is, by the way, in a picture drama in R1. That's a callback there. He was the only friend. So then Suzaku and Lelouch are going to have a conversation, and I took a lot of notes of what they were saying because there's a lot of stuff they mentioned back and forth that is really bizarre stuff, and we'll get to that when they start talking. So Bradley is, I'll say one thing about him. I hate his character, but he's a good pilot. I mean, he literally, he blew up I'm working on a cool video for a couple weeks from now, and the video is going to give you guys stats on all the knights that are all the Nightmare Frame pilots, like their kill count, their win totals, and like who was the best one by statistically by statistical analysis. I got it because I know some people don't like the fact I made Colin like the best Nightmare Frame pilot. I said in that short she has the highest kill count. What I meant, by the way, was she has the highest kill count one-on-one nightmare individual nightmare frames. But if you count blowing up like a ship or what are they called? Sky ship? That's not what they're called. Airships, right? If you count those, then a lot of you have higher kill counts. Anya, for example, has killed over 1,000 people, and Bradley has also killed almost 1,000 people. Shinkei has killed over 1,000 people if you count an airship. Like this ship here that Bradley blows up, this thing here, I think it holds like 120 people that he incinerates with like the greatest of ease. And there's another part later where he throws like a carrier at the one of the Chinese Federation's like main I guess it was their capital ship, you know, that weird triangle thing that like flies in the over the water or floats over the water. I guess it's floating. That thing can hold 1,000 people. Apparently, it's the size of like a football field. And so when Bradley hurled it at Shinkei and he blew it up, he killed like 1,000 people. So technically, I think Bradley, Shinkei, and Anya have the highest kill counts. If you only count just killing people in any means necessary. If you count killing people individually through nightmare frames or even ships, then Colin has the highest kill count. Anyways, we see Bradley kicking ass, and again, he's a pretty damn deadly nightmare frame pilot. This poor bastard gets killed, and yeah, he stabs him. And there's even blood here. If you pause at the right time, you can see blood when he stabs him. His nightmare frame is also really cool too. But so what? I still hate the character. And then we see how Cho tells Shinkei they're losing badly, which makes sense because, you know, this is Britannia's military. And unfortunately, we learned in one of the episodes, I think it was like turn 11 or 10, that like if it's like if there's one Nightmare Frame pilot that's stronger than everyone else, you can't really win unless you take out that Nightmare Frame pilot. She's literally telling him here that Bradley's killing all our forces. And Shinkei's like, well, that sucks. And then I believe Shido tells all the people here, don't worry about it, we're fine. This battle ends soon, Nelly. Have no fear. By the way, I think his hand is bigger than her whole body. Like he puts his hand on her shoulder, and it's like, God dang it. Shido is like 6'7", so it's like he's so much bigger than Nunnally, like both physically and like height-wise. It's funny, the size difference. But yeah, they're pretty confident they're going to win because they have more. They've got better Nightmare Frame pilots and better better soldiers. And then we see Bismarck going into the Gallahan. I love the way he gets loaded in there. There's like it's like almost like how would I explain it? You know how in Evangelion there's like these pods that they get inserted into the Evangelion's body. It's very similar to that, except it enters from the back, but it's a pull out tube. It's really cool. Look at this key; it's a freaking sword. Yeah, look, Bismarck's cool. I have nothing against his character. I think he's pretty awesome. I'm not sure why he waits on using the Geass power till the end, but hey, that's a whole nother thing. And the Gala, it's a really cool Nightmare Frame. We needed more time with him, and all the Knights around for that matter. So Lucian and Suzaku go back and forth about a bunch of stuff. They first talk about how, what was it? He told Lelouch, you know, you have a lot of guts coming here. And he's like, well, I mean, the roots were dangerous. He meant like, not your daring to actually show your face to me. I like how Lelouch still is so dumb. He didn't know what the hell Suzaku was talking about there. And how, like, he betrayed him as a friend and he lied to him this whole time. And this is a very emotional scene between the two characters. Then we, of course, have the cut to another part where the Ikaruga is underwater, and Chiba and Asi are like, look, Zero does some things behind the scenes, and Chiba's like, yeah, I hate him too, for obvious reasons, because he betrayed them before. And Toh's like, we need Zero's thing now more than ever. Then Detail's like, look, we got Valletta tied up. You want to know what happened when you fell off the cave? You know, I mean, not the cave, the cliff. Well, basically, I think Psycho rescued both of you. We healed. You both took no damage from the battle. Well, you took a couple hits, and we have Valletta tied up. Do what we say, and nothing bad happens to her. So now in the ship, we have Cornelia and we have Valletta in there. So it's funny, you know what I mean? Like they gave Valletta more of a role in the story, but she ends up the same spot as Cornelia. Prisoners on the Ikaruga for no reason. Does Ogi visit Valletta and talk to her about any of this stuff? No, of course not. Why would he do that? She's just prisoner, and that's where it goes. They could have talked about stuff, but whatever. It is what it is. And Dieter's like saying, like, we need you, Ogi. You're the average man. That's why we want you in the military. I don't know. Dieter's kind of weird here. They're trying to explain like why Ogi should be here in the military. Because he was saying, like, fine, I'll leave. You can find someone just like me. And Dieter's like, hold on. Need some water here. What was it? Like, you're the average man, but Ogi's like, you could replace me. They wanted to shoehorn him in. I don't know. Anyways, then we see C2, and she has her bandage on because she likes Lelouch. Doesn't question the bandage in general, you know, because this is her whatever. I'm not even gonna go. I already discussed this point. He's upset about Suzaku discusses about Yuffie and Shirley, and he basically says like he discusses why all that happened essentially. I want to get the exact conversation so I can give you guys the point by point analysis. Let's see. Okay, I don't have the point by point. I don't remember the exact order of things they discussed, so I can pull the transcripts. But basically, he asked him about like the Geass power, why'd you use on Yuffie to kill everybody, and the whole controversial scene where Lelouch, instead of saying why he did it, he just lied and said I wanted to motivate the Japanese people. He said how Zero was a mask and it was a mask to perform tricks and lies. He basically tried to. Lelouch basically took responsibility for every single thing he did to get Suzaku to work with him. He literally did everything he could. Yeah, he used Geass on Yuffie to cause the massacre because he wanted to motivate the Japanese people. He was afraid if the SADs would happen, they'd be collapsed. That second part is accurate, but the first part is not, from what I know. Or it could be, who the hell knows? And then Shirley's death, my fault. I'm like, no, it was not his fault. Or, no. It was his fault, but the thing is, Lelouch didn't believe that. He only said it to get Suzaku to work with him. And basically, whatever, he basically, okay, whatever. It's all my sins to bear. No had nothing to do with anything. And Suzaku's like, you coward, you piece of crap. That's not good enough or whatever. He's very angry with him because no matter what, Lelouch is basically saying no matter what happens, I don't care. Okay? I don't care. Just help Nolly. I'm a bad person. It's fine. He's basically manipulating Suzaku with pity. And it works, by the way, because Lelouch knows how to manipulate him. Here's a good point. When I was discussing the whole situation with Shonen Showdown in their video about the brothers who were bad brothers in anime, or I should say the best brothers in anime, and they forgot, or hold on. Are we done here? Okay. As I was saying, in that video, I forgot to mention that Nully tells Colin about their past. Not Colin and Nully's past, but Colin, Nully, and Lelouch's past, and how he did all this stuff for her. Which again shows that Lelouch was a great brother to Nully his whole life. The problem with that video analysis, or what they were saying, was because of the last year of their lives, basically, Lelouch was a bad brother. Even though prior to that, he was very nice to her. And there was this conflict between her and Colin kind of shows that. Which is why Colin was saying to herself, like, who is the real Lelouch? They didn't mention on their video, by the way. I forgot about it. I just kind of was more generic and said, hey, between... they didn't even discuss the past that they had. So I find it interesting that this whole conversation between Colin and Nully wasn't taken into account in that video. Shinkei now fights against Bismarck, and he's obviously overmatched. He's like no chance against him. But they're still he still tries to fight him off and kill off Shinkei. He fires the cannon at him. I forgot the exact name of it, and he blocks it with the the Excalibur, which was kind of cool. I thought it was kind of cool. This is, by the way, what I mentioned earlier in Code Geass about how Shinkei and the Shenhu was a plot device. That's all it was. Because after he defeats Colin, and I use the word, I say defeat because I'm officially ruling it now that I thought about it. He does defeat Colin, but it was a technicality, and it was also due to incompetency on like everyone's end. But sure, he technically defeats Colin. But the thing is, once he defeats Colin, his nightmare frame is basically worthless in the story. He defeats no one else. He's basically gets destroyed by the remaining characters, like Bismarck. Even Gino held him off pretty well. So they literally gave him this nightmare frame just to get Colin out of the show for like 8 episodes. So that's why I just hate the Shenhu. I don't mind Shinkei's character, but the Shenhu was such a plot device nightmare frame. So Lelouch is like, I'll do whatever. He said, like, Mikey ass will be damned. And Suzaku's like, if you want to help bring back Euphemia, he literally bows to him. He said he never bowed to anyone in his whole life. I'm not sure if that's true or not. And then Suzaku like basically buries his head in the ground with his foot, saying, like, you lie all the time. So how about this? If you want me to save Nunnally, then you better keep the lie going to the very end. You say you're a knight for justice, and well, why don't you be like one and help save the world? Because Suzaku was saying, I see the same look in his eyes. It's what I had when I killed my father. That's why I joined the military, to make up to redeem myself. I think Lelouch might have been manipulating him there, but it's hard to say. But the point is, he was right, Suzaku, because Lelouch was lying when he said he was a knight for justice. Because he told Colin in stage 13 that if innocent people have to die, then it is what it is. So he definitely that was only an act he put up there. That could be why he says zero in third person, implying like it's not really him or something. I don't know. But what Suzaku said to Lelouch was, a lot of it was very true. And then, of course, he's betrayed, or he thinks he's betrayed, when they all take him, capture him. But Lelouch, of course, knew he was going to be betrayed because he Geass Guilford in advance. So I assume he was upset, but he also kind of saw it coming, I guess. Anyhow, we see photos of the school, and there's a lot of photos that were removed. I assume the photos that were removed were of Nunnally, and I wonder who got through this book and like took the photos out. Because you don't see Nunnally anywhere in these photos, so I assume that's what was removed from the album. I'm not sure exactly what it was. And Gio's like, you could become a Britannian, and Colin's like, I will never do that. So Gino wants to date her, and Colin's not interested. It's kind of sad. Move on, dude. It's over. It's over. Okay, she's not interested. I'm not against the relationship in a sense, but like she's not interested. Okay, Gino tried one last advance on Colin, and it was in turn 23, and she literally turned him down. It was kind of funny. There's even a comic that makes fun of it too, which I thought was interesting. So here's the thing: Bradley was launched. This is part I was talking about earlier. Bradley launches the carrier class airship at them, and Shinkei blocks Bismarck, and then he blows it up. I think it was right here, or not here. I forgot. I guess I don't have an image of it, but he blows it up, and they say then Shinkei had to leave the battle because he was injured. So it was kind of sad. So he got hurt from the battle, and then he sacrificed himself to stop essentially the carrier from killing everyone else, because it could have been really the end of it. I mean, Bradley was such a psycho. He was going to wipe out. He was going to sacrifice 1,000 lives to end the war. Yeah, he's just insane. Then Guilford's like, I can't believe he was a high school student. Now I'm thinking, wait, Lelouch, if you have the signal, then use it right now. And he does it afterward, which was so stupid. But I like the foreshadowing, though, with the hand on his neck. There's a really good part here. I think I have the, it's really funny. I mean, it's not funny, but I thought it was kind of funny. Where Lelouch is talking to Schneizel, and he was saying, I'll forgive you. Even though you're zero, we can still work out something. And he's like, would you put, are you here to, I don't want your pity, or would you pity me or something like that? And he smiles. Oh my God, it was so funny. He's like, are you going to, so you're going to save me because of pity? And Schneizel's like, yep. Oh man, it was so brutal. Like, it's just, God, I love Schneizel's character. He's such a dick. It's just so good because Lelouch was so upset, and it's this evil smile. It's like, I won, I own you, you know it. Let's move on. And then Suzaku was kind of upset, obviously, because he didn't betray Lelouch. And then eventually, the what's it called? Guilford understands the message, and he basically knows that he is Cornelia and rescues her accordingly. And then Schneider's like afterwards, what was it? I must now believe in this power. So he had some knowledge of Geass beforehand. In the films, they showed how he knew about Code R because they realized it was a mistake. They never explained it in the story. So I'm glad they did it in the films. I guess he knew about Code R, but they never showed it. He then is rescued by Guilford. They fly away. And Cecile's like, I guess Guilford turned traitor. And I was thinking, wait a minute. If Cecile knows that Guilford turned traitor, does she also know Lucius Zero at this point? Because what information did they get her? So they were like hiding information from them, but she knew that Guilford was a traitor. And Nina's asking about what's going on with the battle, and then we have the recording of Lelouch telling Suzaku what was going on, and then Schneider's like, "Look, if you got something about Geass or whatever, just tell us about what you know." And Suzaku's like, "I got nothing." He even asked about like Geass power or something. Like he says here, "How come you would have betrayed us, or what would cause you to do something like this?" And Suzaku's like, "I have no idea." It's kind of funny because if you go through the conversation they're having here, and I'll get you the exact line here. He says, let's see. You guys, the exact part. We're almost there, and he plays the recording. Do you know what happened? Do you happen to know the reason why Lord Guilford would suddenly betray us like this, as well as why you did what you did on Counter Island? And Suzaku's like, should we be pursuing Zero right now? And Can's like, okay, dude, seriously? Tell us what's going on. And Ken is so angry at Suzaku. It's amazing. And then we see like all of the areas they covered, the archaeological, I guess the different sort of Akashas to get into C's World. Or those, I'm not sure if they were Sword of Akashas, but the different entrances to the Sword of Akasha, I believe. And Charles sees they're all connected for the Ragnarok connection. Meanwhile, Luke changes into the Zero outfit, and him and Guilford head off to the battlefield. And Shadow's really pissed off because he's saying, like, look, dude, if you know something, say something. And Suzaku just wouldn't say anything. And then we get to the Lelouch using the Geass power, I'm going to get part of the Geffen Disturbers to stop all the troops so they can invade it and conquer them. It's kind of cool, and I like what this whole setup is that he can't use the same tactic from before because they fortified the walls, so he can't collapse the settlement. And we saw early on in turn 14 that he was already 13. He was made the Geffen Disturbers on the train, so when he activates them, it's not a contrivance because you saw him doing it earlier. It was well set up. And then D-Tar's like, Ogi, do you? And he's like, I know. The whole scene when they launch, it's so awesome. You see the Ikaruga fly out of the water, Asahina, Chiba, and Tohdoh get the nightmare frames, and then Jeremiah's like, I'll put my loyalty to Prince Lelouch and Princess Nunnally, and he connects to the Sutherland Zieg. It's so awesome. And then of course Bradley and Bismarck. I think Bismarck doesn't join the battlefield, which is kind of strange, but Bradley goes to join them. And Lelouch explains how he's cold and calculus will work against. That's what they're used against the going forward. He tried to be kind, and that was a failure. And Schneider's like, "You're not going to win, Lelouch, because I know everything." I love what Schneider says here. I know everything now. You're not going to beat me. So cool. I love his character. Then Can's like, "You're a piece of crap, Suzaku. You may not be punished officially, but you'll have to answer for the crimes of your heart for being an idiot." It's great. There's the tactical warhead, and the episode ends. And when the episode ends, by the way, Lelouch has something which I mentioned. He said, do I have the quote here? Hold on. At the very end, he says, okay, they don't have it, but I don't have the, let's say, let me go to the episode then. Hopefully I didn't get rid of it. 1 second. It's really cool. Or it's not cool. It's important to bring it up because the only time he ever mentioned it, besides the actual episode where he thought about it. So he says at the very end, let me pull up the subs. I can't freaking. Okay. So he says at the very end of the episode. Okay, next turn. How dare you do this to me? You sneered at me, trampled and looked down on me. I guess you're talking about Suzaku. I swear I'll win. I'll have to win against Schneisel and Suzaku. I know I'm the target you're after now. I know that I'm the target you're after now. Very well, have at me then. I'll destroy you. I'll show you despair. On top of that, I'll steal Nunnally back. I'll rescue Colin. And then you'll have the last laugh. So basically, Lelouch only brings up protect or saving Colin in this one little epilogue part, and also the episode she was captured. I think it was turn 11 or turn 11. They mentioned we'll rescue her later. But other than that, Lelouch never thinks about it or ever talks about it. They did the same thing with Shirley in a different sense, where Lelouch discussed how they're dating, but he did it in the end of the episode, where you had to watch to the very end to learn information. And the problem with like Code Geass is that it's not like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, where in Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, the end of the episode would actually show you like more footage to lead on to the next one. Like for example, I believe there's a part where what was it? Bradley's wife is captured by Riza. I believe that's one extra part you get at the end of one of the episodes. There's another part where Greed, was the new Greed, attacks Bradley in his mansion. I believe that's also the end of an episode because he's having like memory issues because he thought I believe he killed. He's getting memories of his older self because he killed one of the people. I think it was the surviving Chimera from his old gang, and so he killed him. And he started having like flashbacks of his old life, and so he's confused. So he attacked Raph at the end of the episode. But in Code Geass, you're not known for like epilogues shouldn't matter if you don't always make them matter. And there's like two conversations in this season where you actually have to listen to them to know what's going on or to get a better sense of certain things. Like Lelouch and Shirley are now officially dating, or Lelouch actually wants to rescue Colin. It's part of the plan. But it's like such a secondary topic. The last episode, Rock Shadow like briefly mentioned it, and this episode, he's like the very end. I'm gonna stop Nunnally and then rescue Colin. So no offense to Colin, she's always number 2. Anyways, that's let's do my notes before we move on to the comments. There's not much to say about the episode. I thought it was really cool. There was good action sequences. Schneisel's an awesome character, and you see why. Even though I don't like Bradley's character, he's a really good Nightmare Frame pilot. The conversation between Chiba, Tohdoh, and Asahina, it didn't go anywhere. And what I was thinking about was, in turn 19, when they all betray Lelouch, because they betray each other, but whatever, during that part, they could have had this whole rebellion between the Black Knights and Lelouch, like something that it could have been as a result of either the Saz or the whole Geass massacre or something else. Like the only reason they had the whole betrayal was because Schneisel basically told them the whole plot of the story. But other than that, they would have betrayed him. It would have been kind of cool if like they were already having a fight, an internal fight within the organization, and then Schneisel lands on the Ikaruga, and they agree to hear him out because they don't trust Zero anymore. That would have been kind of good, where it's like, hey, listen, Zero's already proven to be not trustworthy. We don't like him. We were having an internal struggle, and then an outside force comes in, and they're more willing to accept his information. The story would have progressed much better. The problem is that they kept hinting there might be some kind of rebellion within a rebellion, but it never happens. It's almost artificially started by Schneisel when it should have been more organic within the story. You can't just have side conversations that don't go anywhere. Code Geass is so guilty of that, especially in the second season. Oh yeah, Zero said he was a miracle worker. I was like, isn't Tohdoh a miracle worker? I guess they swapped it up. I don't know. Let's see, anything else? Oh, here's another thing I was confused about. Canon said if they captured Lelouch, it would end the war. I'm like, how would it end the war exactly? You can't prove he was zero. You have no like. There's nothing. There's no way you can tie them together. Now, the Shinkira was nearby in the forest, but they didn't know that, right? So I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute. How does capturing Lelouch end the war if they don't even know he's zero or not? It's I guess they assumed he was, but you have to like prove that. Like canon. I'll say much. Canon is technically right, but the problem with the story is that again, it's there's no dramatic irony. It's like the characters know everything, and that makes no sense. Like, I don't like the way they handle that whole mess. But he is right, Ken, because the Black Knights are a horribly run organization in the sense that they're all relying on Lelouch. So if Lelouch gets captured, yeah, they all lose. So it's very true. Let's see. What else do we have here? Friendship only leads betrayal. That was a good quote. Let's see. Oh, Millie also explained the whole military strategy, which was kind of cool as well. Again, it was a teleprompter, but I still liked how she did that. I say Cornelia is again worthless here. Oh, right, because there's a part where when they all surface to go in the battle, you see Cornelia just in her room, tied up. So you don't forget, not tied up. She's still chained up. What has the Cornelia wants is the bathroom? Who helps her? Who escorts her to the bathroom if necessary? Does anybody? Oh, one other thing that's important to note here. You see how Cornelia is wearing this older outfit, right? So that means that when Guilford saw her last, she was still wearing this outfit, which means that she must have disappeared a long time ago. Because otherwise, he would imagine her in the new outfit, but he never saw her wear it. So the Geass made him think of this old one. Just a random thing I noticed. But that's everything. I got nothing else to say here. Again, it's a pretty good episode. 16 was okay. It could have been better. So now that that's done, I got to change batteries soon. But in the meantime, I'll read some comments while I have this playing in the background. Okay. And if you're wondering, that's a made outfit from Gigi that I got recently from the game. Anyways, and there's Renya. He's doing stuff. All right, let's read some comments. Where's the start of? Actually, maybe we'll go. No, I don't want to go in reverse order because then I'm going to miss something. Here we go. Okay. Suzaku chewing out Lelouch for his past sins. It was pretty epic, yeah. I don't think all the military was in Japan. There was a map showing all the forces invading other countries. Apparently, one will be by Odysseus. Yeah, Odysseus and I believe Genevieve. But what I'm saying was, it seemed like the Britannia had their stuff spread out, but Japan had all the Black Knights went to Japan. Maybe I got that wrong. Yeah, I've heard people make this complaint before too. It's kind of weird. Telemarion's responsible for anyone that Anya killed. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. Who gets the kills, Marion or Anya? I'm gonna go with Anya, but technically you're right because isn't the reason why Anya's such a good Nightmare Frame pilot is because Marion's inside of her, and Marion was a knight. What was it, Knight of 2? I think the Knight of 2. I believe she was. So technically, yeah, Anya's skill, I assume, comes from Marion being inside of her. That's a theory. I can't prove that. So yeah, it's a good question. I wonder how I'm going to figure that out going forward. I'm going to say Anya, but yeah, I guess Marion gets the kills too. I guess the Black Knights learned from Commissioner Gordon and from the Dark Knight. Let him have all our dudes in one place. So, oh my god, dude! When I watched The Dark Knight Rises, that was the dumbest plot hole ever. Where it was like, let's send all our cops into the sewer. Nothing bad will happen there. Oh my god, that was such a stupid. That movie was so bad it hurt. It was offensively bad. Suzaku degrading Lelouch so much here annoys me since the former comes off like a massive hypocrite. There is definitely some truth to that, but I still don't complain about what Suzaku did here. I don't disagree. Yes, there definitely was some hypocrisy with Suzaku, but I don't disagree with what he told Lelouch. I also don't disagree with him being angry at Lelouch because he technically did lie to him. They lied to each other, obviously. But yeah, as you said here, they were trying to make them support Suzaku. That was kind of the point. Also, one bell and the war is decided. That's kind of dumb. There's a little conflict. Yeah, I know. Again, it's kind of bizarre to me how that worked. They didn't really explain it so well. He might have been. There's some truth to that. There was something someone said. I want to follow up. Mhm. Fun fact: Soul made a video about light versus illusion, the same thing you did, and he believes the different types of intelligence, illusion, light are not equal with all types. Really? What's the video called? I'll look it up. Well, I didn't say they're equal either. Just for record, I said that between all the major ones, they're basically the same, but the inter and intra were different. Let's see. I'm sure you got more views too because it's a bigger channel. Let's see. You know the link or the video title? Light versus light. No, light versus Lelouch. Let's see. You know what it's called? Like, yeah, Ryan, can you tell me what the name of the video is? I'll look it up later. Versus question. Lelouch versus Layla. Ooh, that's a good question. Lelouch is a good. I think Layla would give him a good fight, but I wait. We're talking about like strategic tactics. I think Lelouch has a little more experience than Layla does, so he'd probably win. But it'd be a good fight though because Layla's pretty talented. If it's like a nightmare frame battle, Lelouch I think is more competent than Layla, who has like no ability whatsoever. So she'll even though the Burai is weaker than the Alexander, Layla is still very green with it. She could barely use it. If you remember in the OVA 2, she only like survived because Akito protected her. Let's be honest. Lelouch interests me here since he has a legitimate justification for all Saku's grievances, but won't use them. It's like he wants everyone to see him as a monster. Yeah, exactly. He wants to take all the. He would double down on everything just to seem like the bad guy, so he'll work with him. I like when Asahina, what happens after Japan is freed, because besides I'll destroy Britannia, what Lelouch's actual plan was invade and destroy Britannia City. Explain, Joe. Yeah, you know what? I forgot to mention that, but yeah, Asahina said like, "What do we do when Japan is freed? Who the hell knows?" One of the flaws in this story is that because the Black Knights are now the fighting force of the UFN, not just Japan, that means that their goal is to defend the whole UFN going forward. Which means that once Japan is freed, they still have to keep fighting until the end. That's the problem with the whole one military thing. The Black Knights are no longer a fighting force against or for freeing Japan. They're going to fight for everyone now. So I guess that's the thought going through. But you're right. That's a good point. Oh heavens, there's Sass Massacre Lelouch. I said I'm not your savior. You still think he's a monster though. Yeah, I don't know. I think Suzaku is a more straight lace type of hero than Lelouch. Whether or not it's true or debatable. I love Bismarck. I love how simple his gal head is. Just a raw straight fancy, just a big sword. Yeah, pretty much. A big ass sword. According to Suzaku's character, he shouldn't have extended his hand. He would have taken Lelouch into custody. I mean, I guess, but it's hard to say because I guess he decided to go along with this because he wanted to. Yeah, I guess he would have taken him in custody or at least killed him. But Suzaku also wanted to save Nunnally too. He said early on he wanted to save her. I guess that's the reason why. It's for Nunnally. That's why they agreed to work together. But you're not wrong though. It's a little contradictory. Tomoe Japan, Suzaku Lelouch for. Can you stop lying to me? Speak to one bloody moment. Yeah, he doesn't though. I'll give Akito Exo one thing. The OVA gives Suzaku more as a characterization in R2. That's for sure. I don't disagree with that at all. Yeah, look, he did a good job, but I think Jin was being a nice guy though. But you're right, he did stop him. I like how Suzaku used Zero against Lelouch, saying that Zero was a man of miracles, so make the miracles. And yeah, exactly. He used his own thing against him. Very true. If Guilford sees Lelouch as Cornelia, does that mean Guilford would fall in love with Lelouch? Oh yeah, I guess so. Weird. Why after Frank incident, he started to second guess and doubt himself. He realized he was acting like Lelouch, so in the scene were together. That's a good point too. Again, you can go back and forth with it. Suzaku did ban an eye to his family members being killed after Black Rebellion failed. Oh yeah, because right, that's true. He didn't. That's true. He didn't care. Um, because that's the price you pay, I guess. Officer, sir, why did we bring Bally to the battlefield? Oh, don't worry, he's just fine. Oh yeah, that was so bad. It was man. Well, Bradley is a psycho. So that's what happens. Yeah, well, I guess Suzaku felt like he crossed the line, so there was no redemption, which didn't really happen until 18. But still, I think that was the thought process there. I really wish the Blood Rebellion was successful because the battle would have been much different. Everybody was aggressive. Um, yeah, but they didn't end it that way. True. He also knows the opposite of Zero when he realizes that he was acting like Lush. It was a bit of a realization. That's why he's giving Lush a chance. Oh, okay. I think I understand what you were saying there. Um, Hexaku dealing with the fact he hated Nemesis not only took a love away, but also the goal would give him the right or so many opportunities to handle him. Yeah, I guess that's true. Not sure what family members were killed. It was Kyoto, I believe. Well, hard to say because were in the house of Kyoto related to Kaguya? Because if they were, then that would be his family members. We know his mother or the rest of his family members like abandoned him when he joined the military. So if the heads of Kyoto were not related to Suzaku, then yeah, I don't think his family members were killed. I thought they were related. Yeah, that's true. That's the main thing there. He did kind of. That's true. There's some truth to that. You guys can go back and forth. I love this conversation. Um, I feel like Suzaku became the Knight of Zero. He basically becomes Lucius Cannon in the sense yeah. Wait, by assistant? I don't know about that. Um, there's like six houses. I don't think they all were related. He knows about his people's suffering. He just can't do. If I break the rules, I think the problem with Suzaku is like he. I think it's what this is actually a pretty good way to summarize it. He can't do much to stop the suffering, so he has to kind of double down on it for now until he gets a high enough of title where he can stop it altogether. Basically, he has to kind of do what Lelouch did, but only through like they both have to commit awful acts, but Suzaku is technically following the rules. It's kind of confusing, but hmm, yeah, that was interesting. Definitely multiple ways to look at it. I imagine Jeremiah would be the only one to escort Corinne to the bathroom while she's in a prisoner. By the way, I just saw something else since you mentioned Jeremiah. If Jeremiah has a Geass Chancellor and Lelouch can command people to do things, but he could do it multiple times, assuming the Chancellor is in effect, why couldn't Jeremiah just be next to Lelouch while he's talking to Cornelia? He'll give her a command to answer a question or something. If he didn't like the answer, he could have Jeremiah undo the Geass command and have him do it again until he gets the answer he wants. They never explore that whole idea of Lelouch having unlimited commands, basically because Jeremiah can undo them. That would have been a really cool secondary thing in the story. Do you think the writers all decided that R2 ending and had to find out how they're going to write to get there? Yeah, I don't disagree. On some level, that's probably true. But if they knew the ending, they could have plotted backwards better. I think what happened was they had a certain goal they wanted to get to, but the problem is they didn't have enough episodes, so they had to basically summarize every single major conflict in the worst way possible to get to the Zero Requiem. So yeah, basically, but only because of time constraints, or maybe the writers suck. I don't know. There's obvious parts that they could have improved on. Um, it the problem. Okay, it's it's cool that she was behind the Geass order, but your last part of the sentence is the problem. I don't care if she hunts the Geass order, although it makes no damn sense in context to the story and what she's trying to accomplish. But whatever. What I don't like is how none of it was explained or handled at all, or there's like nothing that comes after it. It's just like there was so much setup for doing this stuff, but it doesn't lead to anything. That's the problem. The before and after are worthless. That's why it was crap to me. And again, as I argued last week, how does destroying the Geass Order do anything for anyone? Wouldn't it make more sense to capture the Order and learn about how Geass worked as opposed to destroying it? I mean, at least save the research notes. I'm not sure, especially if you had the research notes, you could maybe try to prove Yuffie's innocence if that was her goal. But instead, once the Geass Order is wiped out and she's captured, she never once brings up clearing Yuffie's name. And when she's freed with Schneisel, she again doesn't bring it up. That's the problem with the whole Cornelia situation. They keep up with a last minute explanation for why she's doing what she's doing, but then she forgets about it when she's free. That's why I hate it. It was handled horribly. Yeah, I feel the same way sometimes. She was a good resurrection too. That's true. I prefer Shadow knew about Geass since he had his men wear reflective glasses when apprehending Lelouch. He might have known about it from the Covenant ruins. Something like that. The guy they could have explained it. That's also true, yeah. I love Suzaku, but Shadow Cannon roasted him so hard. Suzaku finally needs to pick a side and stick with it. Hopefully millions of people don't die before he chooses. Oh god. Who was smarter? Okay, let's see. Light versus Lelouch. Okay. Who was smarter? I see who would win. Philosophy. Oh, here it is. No, this is Light versus L. Oh, here it is. Is it? It's a small video. Oh, I see. Yeah, it just came out like this month, actually, yesterday. Let's see. I'm watching it right now. Light versus Lelouch, the battle of. Hmm. I'll have to watch the video later, but I will say the guy's analysis, like he. All right. Um, I don't hate on anyone who makes videos, but I will definitely say I don't think he does a good enough analysis on it. I don't know if he watched my video and took influence from it, which if he did, I'm honored. I doubt it though. But the problem with his videos, I'm going through it. It's not well. It's too simplistic. There's not much nuance in the discussion. That's the problem with comparing intelligences. Not to go into this discussion, but there's too much nuance here. Like, okay, how do you compare, for example, between Light and Luch? Who is academically smarter, better at math and science and stuff? How would you determine that? Well, Luch was obviously an A student. He never paid attention to class, aced all of his studies, and Light was also he was top of his class, and he was like the representative in college or something, I believe. The Luch never went to college, but I imagine if he did go, he probably would have been an A student too. So how do you know who's smart in that department? But Lelouch did calculate the Flea disruptor when they stopped in turn 24. So he's obviously very intelligent in that department. When discussing bodily kinesthetic intelligence, it's not just like who's in better shape. It's also like the ability to acting is bodily kinesthetic intelligence. So there's more going on than just simply who can be who in a fight. I don't know if he took into account in his video, but like there's so much nuance there. You can't just say like, okay, Light was a better actor than Lelouch, maybe, but it's if there is a difference, it's very hard to find it. It's not clear. That's why when I did my analysis, I even said at the end of the video, look, it really depends on what you think is the most, what you value more. Do you value interpersonal or intrapersonal intelligence? And whichever one you think is better, that's who you think is probably smarter. Because the way the intelligence work, they're all they're not a hierarchy. It's not like physical intelligence better than spatial visual. They're not, or even what's the speaking one? I forgot the name of it. Linguistic. They're not. They're not. There's no hierarchy. They're all equal. So that's the problem. So you have to compare theirs to each other. So that's why it's not clear. The analysis mine was just to simply show you like where their strengths and weaknesses lie, and use a value judgment to determine who you think is smarter. Because if people talk about intelligence, normally they only discuss academic or they bring up really stupid stuff that's not related to anything. Like some of the haters on my video, which they say something like that has nothing to do with anything. Plot armor is not relevant to anything. It was, oh my god. The guy's video was very new, so I'll watch it later. Maybe I'll get some feedback on it. But I will say that overall, to me, I don't like the editing of it. But then again, my editing is awful too, so I can't criticize. But um, yeah, I don't know. I'll look at it later. Thanks for bringing it up, by the way. I honestly, I don't have time to watch RPO's videos anymore. I'm sure you guys know as a YouTuber, or I mean, you can imagine, as a YouTuber, you either make videos or you watch videos. You can't really do both that much. Anyways, thanks for bringing that up. I have it saved for my watch later. Lelouch personally shows more strategic skills than Layla, plus she relies on people to do work. Now, Nightmare comment he'd win because Layla's inexperienced. Yeah, she just doesn't know what she's doing. We know that in Nightmare Friend Combat, if the pilot doesn't know what they're doing, it doesn't matter what you give them, they're going to lose no matter what. Yeah, I actually, I went back. My bad. Okay, sorry about that. Where was I? Episode 17, Lelouch should have told Suzaku female and Shirley's death were accidents. Yeah, he should have. I agree. Lelouch, Cornelia, and Guilford in the same room. Lelouch, hey, go take your tuck. Go for it. Wait, two Cornelius? Go for it. Stop that. Lelouch laughing conflict. Yeah, that would be really funny. Never happens, though. I didn't shoot Shirley. Rollo did. Yeah, that could have worked. The more interesting, the Black Knights after betraying Zero, they were, screw you, Schneizel. We're not going to work with you either. And basically become a third faction. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. Never happens, though. Insert Three Kingdoms reference. I was reading online, and Zero reckoned Lelouch dying for Zero's hand was one of the few things they'd planned even before back to R1. Oh, if you got a sword fit, I'd like to read up on that. Yeah, but then of course, yeah, that's a good point too. I did not think about that. Oh yeah, it only gets worse. That's right. It's just a bigger. Yeah, it's not good. Yeah, it's true. Another thing, since Suzaku knows role as a Britannian assassin with orders to kill Lush, then that totally means Suzaku all responsible for Shirley's death. Yeah, I guess that's true. Okay, well, we're never gonna agree on that one. See, that's the thing. That's how I know. That's okay. That's a problem because again, body kinesthetic is not just physical strength. It's also acting and movement and dancing. That's why you can't just say who'd win a fight. That's if that's the level he went. He didn't watch my video, or more importantly, he didn't read the book from Howard Gardner about the different type of intelligences because there's so much nuance and it's not that simple. That's kind of disappointing. I don't think I want to watch the video anymore. That's disappointing. He said Lelouch is smarter than Light interpersonal and Light smarter than intrapersonal. I was like, wait, what a reverse switch on your take. I was like, wait, really? But how? How was Light's interpersonal intelligence better than Lelouch's? Light didn't even understand himself. He literally was like, no, that's not true. Lelouch had a better understanding of his own personal desires. Light never once questioned who he was. He didn't even like, no, oh, okay, I'll watch it later. Maybe I will, unironically. That doesn't make any sense. What? I like how me and Ryan are talking about intelligence, and everyone else is going off of, like the whole Raw Lelouch situation. It's kind of fun. It's like there's like three conversations going on at once here. It's pretty funny. Telling Rollo was kind of working for Lelouch, and Suzaku came back to Japan. Rollo was like the one kid you didn't want on your team. Damn right. Okay, maybe Lelouch could convince Suzaku to join up by keep talking to him. All right, I'm gonna check my battery real quick, and then we're gonna do some summonings, and that's probably how we're gonna close the stream. So give me a second. I'm gonna put my brand up. Well, my brand up. That's what's called in the. Oh, it's already up. That's what's called in StreamYard. Give me a second here. All right, I'll be right back. What the fudge? 1 second. 1 second. I already turned my camera on. Okay, let's see if I fixed it. There we go. I don't know what happened there. All right, we got some more questions. Considering Lai accidentally led himself to die and Lelouch died on purpose, Lelouch wins in my eyes. Well, again, it's not so much about. Hold on, wait. It's wrong one. It's not so much about like who wins or who succeeded. The intelligence thing, the interpersonal, is about understanding yourself and evaluating who you are. The problem with Light Yagami, he didn't really understand who he was because when he defeated L, he was bored and unsatisfied with life. When it gets near, he's like, "Oh my god, if I win this challenge, then I become god of the new world." His entire plan was always a constantly moving goalpost. Lelouch always had one thing in mind from day one, and he was striving toward one goal. He understood himself well enough that it was he was achieving one thing. He understood himself well enough that um, everything kind of was just there was no doubt in his mind. And every time Lelouch had setbacks, he always self evaluated himself. Wait, what? He self evaluated his actions to figure out what happened to improve from next time. Because he goes a lot of setbacks, and intra and personal intelligence people who do that stuff. Now, I said Light had better inter, but again, that's debatable because Lelouch did technically lead an entire army, and Light never did anything that on that scale. He only led a police force, and even then. Basically, people with good interpersonal intelligence, intrapersonal intelligence, are good with goal setting, and they understand themselves well enough to know what they're trying to achieve in life. People with bad interpersonal intelligence don't. See here, Bradley is literally thumbs upping, oh, like a Hacksaw Jim Duggan. So it's like, why? He's not a good person. So frustrating. All right, let's do some summonings. We'll start with the 10 tickets. Because there's an event tomorrow, which I'll be streaming at like 7 o'clock tomorrow for the event. All right, first 10 tickets. Let's do it. Ooh, very nice. Might be getting a little 4 in this one. She's really excited, but seeing C2 and Gigi is always a positive. Let's see what we get. A bunch of blue. Ooh, one yellow. One yellow. Oh, we're getting a 4. We're getting a 4-star. Oh my god, we are getting a 4-star. Awesome. Let's see what we're gonna get. Tohdoh, not Tohdoh. Tohdoh, okay. Klaus. I don't hate this guy, but he's not a high-ranking character. Valletta, okay. Detard Reed. We meet again. God, Detard. I have so much Detard. So frustrating. Okay, next. Guilford. It's not bad. I like Guilford. Jeremiah. I'm gonna get Tommy at a time. And freaking Ryu. All right, whatever. Shirley? Nope, Tamaki. F my life. And the low 4, here we go. Who we getting? New or Relic? We're gonna find out in 2 seconds. Oh, it's Totsuya. No, it's Liu Kang. Oh my god. This guy's really good. This is Shinkei's I guess great grandfather? I don't know, they're related. He's one of the best characters in the game. Oh my god. That's so cool. Oh my god. He's a great character, by the way. He's actually one of the better characters in the game. That's so cool. All right, let's do some comments real quick, and then we'll go to the next one. Technically, Rolo was kind of working for Lelouch when Suzaku came back to Japan. Rolo's looking. All right, I think I read that one already. He tried before; it didn't work, but true. I read this one too. Did Lelouch have a code like C2? It was a little different. He was a failed one. It's more complicated than that, but that's like a simple answer. Can you imagine if they made C2 a movie that takes place after R2, but tone of the style of a 2017 film like Logan? That'd be kind of cool because they're both immortals. That makes sense. Yeah, that actually could make sense because they're the immortal thing with Logan for sure. He said that Lelouch was better in naturalistic intelligence. Oh, it's better because of the glass theory he talks about since he understands things around him. I'm asking that's how naturalist thing works. Naturalist intelligence? No. See, okay, that's wrong because naturalistic intelligence is just understanding of like the environment or nature, biology. What that scene, that was more of Lelouch was speaking about a theoretical idea, That's more of mathematical, logistical intelligence. When you contemplate complex ideas like, what was that one about? Like happiness or something? Or I think it was happiness. Here, let me show you something that's pretty useful. There's a website. So if I was to, let's see, if I type in Howard Gardner Intelligence Theory, this is a great website. Um, I think it's this one. Is it? Well, mine. This is a good website. If you ever want to learn about intelligence, it's a good one. So here's all the intelligence, right? Not screwing the mic here. So the one you're talking about, yeah, logical, mathematical. So you think about concepts, number, relationships, and patterns. A lot of it is like sorry about that. It's like theoretical stuff, abstract ideas. So Lelouch was talking about what form would happiness take. That's an abstract idea. Now, naturalistic intelligence, let's go down to that. That's more of, what is it? Yeah, nature, nurturing, species, environment, biology, zoology. That's not related to the concept of happiness. That's a completely different thing. So if he said that in the video, that's just wrong on like the basis of intelligence. Now, what's kind of frustrating is that you can go on this website and it tells you like all you need to know. I read the guy's book to better prepare myself for the video, but it really tells you here that naturalistic intelligence is about the environment, biology, zoology. Lelouch was discussing theoretically what happiness means, so a little different. For some reason, he said Lelouch is more intelligent light in logical and linguistic. I mean, you have to quantify, and I couldn't. That's why I didn't say that statement, because Lelouch, something like Lelouch is a very good actor, though, and he's a very good persuasive speaker, and so is Light. That's why it's hard for me to say one over the other. But it's a fair point. Uh, you always get Dieter. Yeah, I always get Dieter once a week, and Tamaki. I always get Tamaki. Freaking love him. What caused Lelouch and Light to fail? Lelouch failed from unforeseen obstacles and unbeing able to see his past, his own ego. Light failed from an overly convoluted plan going sideways, and also becoming too content with things. So it's a bunch of different things. Yeah, and playing people is good interpersonal intelligence. Have you gone C2 and Suzaku summoning? No, I have not. We're gonna try to get him right now, actually. Seriously, had Lelouch spoke with gusto about freeing Japan after being unmasked at Count Island, Dinkan wouldn't have abandoned him. It's very possible, yeah. Light wouldn't know what to say to get people to what he wants. The other problem is Light doesn't want to risk his life. Yes, that's a very good point. Light's willing to risk everything but his own life. Lelouch was willing to put himself on the line for everything. That's definitely a good distinction. All right, let's do a 10 summon. Let me get rid of this. All right, now we're going for a level 4, guaranteed level 4. We already got we got Shinkei's, I think, great grandfather. I believe we're getting another level 4 character. Let's see who it is. I don't really care, honestly. Don't care who it is. Don't care. Anyone will be fine. Let me get rid of this. Where's the banner? Where is the banner? I didn't want this present. Okay. Here we go. Again, I don't care who. A relic is fine, but also a new character would be great. Okay, I'm lying. I don't want Totsuya. Anyone but Totsuya. Who we getting? We're getting Totsuya. So fun. I was like, anyone but Totsuya. I get Totsuya. Oh, God, he's so bad. I mean, he's a body I can use to get more tickets, but God, I hate Totsuya's character. Little backstory about Totsuya. So, when I first played this game, I restarted my account like 4 or 5 times. I couldn't get the combination I liked. When I first started playing this game, I was using Totsuya the whole time, and I kept dying. He was so pathetic. Oh, God, I hate him. I mean, at least, yeah. So, let's see the new character we got. I got readiness. By the way, I got his. I'll show you here. I unlocked his alternative. See? Look how cool he looks. God, I freaking love Renya. But anyways, let's go to the new characters I got. I think is it this one? One of these gives you the order of the characters. No. Let's see. No, I think that's power. Here we go. So I got Totsuya and Liu Kang, which actually is kind of cool. I wanted both of these. Well, not Totsuya. I wanted him. He's really powerful. Arguably one of the strongest characters in the whole game. So that's kind of cool. Let me clean up my code links real quick here. Makes you wonder, does Lelouch and Albert Hand understand Japanese language? So they need to learn? No, it's a good point. I don't know. Like, I've always wondered. I assume everyone just knows English because you're right. Do they understand? They don't understand Japanese, right? It's kind of confusing. It's a good nitpick because it's never really explained. It's like whatever, What do you think? They definitely should have explained what the heck that means because I'm honestly confused. I don't know. Party wants to say, yeah, it probably they probably understand. Everyone speaks English naturally. Maybe that's how the world shaped up, but it's a good point. I honestly don't know. I met after conquering Area 11, English became the default language. Yeah, but what about don't think about it. I was gonna say, what about the people the elders like Taizo Kirihara? Did he understand English? I guess maybe he had to work with the Britannians. But what about Colin's mother? Did she know English? I guess so because she married. Speaking of Colin's mother, because she married Colin's father, who was Britannian. So I guess she knew English too. Did Ogi know? I guess I'm not gonna think about it. It's well in part of the story where it's like, who knows? It's never really brought up. You can kind of make your own assumptions, I guess. But that video about intelligence, I'm gonna watch it later, maybe tomorrow, and I'll give you guys my thoughts on it during the stream. I'm honestly curious what the guy thought about certain things. It is frustrating though when you get like everything's opinion based, obviously in this context, but if you don't even define the terms themselves, that's kind of irritating. That would take you like 10 minutes of research. I just did it right there. I looked more into nuance of certain things, but it's pretty quick to learn that stuff. So yeah, I'll let you guys know what I think of it in the stream tomorrow. Okay, and then now let's get rid of all the level 4s. Well, 3s and 4s from my code links. Doing some cleanup action here. Tomorrow we're gonna do the tomorrow is the next event, so I'm gonna do the first day of that, summonings and stuff. I hope they get the new Shirley. It's level 4, which is pretty cool. I think it's pretty cool. Where is she? There's. I finally got the level 4 for this code link. I've been waiting for so long to get it. Always said was other skills. I'm asking about Luch thinking, calculating a nuclear bomb. You didn't include it. Also, didn't we prove that Lelouch actually has good deductive skills because he figured out the whole identity of the different Kyoto members, like Taizo and the rest of them. So if Lelouch has to, he could definitely do detective work anyways. So it's like there is proof of it. You have to just like look a little into the story. But comparing Death Note to Code Geass in general is really kind of dumb because not dumb, but it's like difficult because they're very different stories. The scale, the plot. It's so frustrating that these two, because they came out around the same time, people generally just want to compare them. But besides two youths with intelligence that have a supernatural power to change the world, the similarities start going away after that. That's why I don't understand why there's so much emphasis put on these characters. I love to see more Johan to Light. That might be more interesting to discuss. I love to do a video about that, Light versus Johan, because Johan is really brilliant in more ways than one. I love the character in general. You can even do maybe Edward versus Lelouch. That might be an interesting combination. Who's smarter, Edward Elric, the youngest state alchemist in history, the man who performed insane alchemy as a kid to save his brother, or Lelouch Lamperouge? Wait, shit. Oh, I thought I lost my stats, my code link. That would have been really bad. Okay. That would be kind of bad. So how much more would we need for the next level 4 guaranteed summon? I need 7. Okay. Well, now we have 2 new characters, and hopefully tomorrow, why look at this? Hopefully tomorrow I'll have 2 more characters. So I'll get us to at least what? That'll get us to 5, 7, and I believe he's not in 10 yet. His intimacy is 9. So we'll have. Oh, he's 17. Oh, that's right. He's 17. That's right. I knew that. I'm just kidding. I knew that. Okay. So that's pretty cool. Let's see how they look in the. Oh, they're in Lelouch, Zero, Choji, I think his name is. Yukiya, Ayano, Ashley, Gino, Tohdoh, Lloyd, Mao, Nunnally, Shirley, Jedemiah, Cornelia, Detard, Klaus, Futaba, Toto, Ogi, Sayako, Tamaki, Cecile, Guilford, Valletta. Where the hell? I went the wrong direction on this. Al. Oh, actually, one more thing. Just realized something. Let me go to my World of C2 real quick. Cool. Okay, now back to the home. Okay, so Al, I know. I don't know how I feel about this alternate art. I'm like, I just don't really like it too much. It's just too, it's too much. Anyways, Colin, Toto, Christmas, Gigi, Halloween, Euphemia, Kigesu, Lux. Here he is. Oh, he looks so cool. By the way, just for a little fun, that's his fiance. Wait, yeah, they're betrothed to get married. That's kind of cool. So when I get them both leveled up, I'm gonna have them team up together as like a married couple. Colin, here's our alternate art, Vicarious. I'm not a fan of it. It really pisses me off. Like, zipper your clothes, damn it. Zio, Totsia. I hate Totsia. The only thing cool about Totsia, he has like a nightmare frame used in battle. That's it. Other than that, I can't stand him. Now, Kyo is freaking awesome. Totsia, not so much. Akito, and of course, my boy, Arenya. So, what happened in Africa? I think they said what happened. Weren't they united? Wasn't there a scene in Turn 15 when they discussed that? No, they totally mentioned that one. Mind you, other animes, not including the one with Japan, have issues too. Not just Code Geass, or however I understand the what different languages. Yeah, it definitely is not just. It's not just Code Geass. Like even like Major kind of handled it pretty well. I can see both. Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. I in my breakdown of the two of them facing each other, you can go either way with that. It just depends on what happens. It's not a guaranteed win either way. Has there been any talk of the game released in America? No, I don't think so. It won't be. I mean, if Lost Colors did get released here, no, I don't think so. We're strictly getting it. This is the only thing we're getting at this point. I maybe something will change in the future. I would love that if they released this in English, because when Oz the Reflection comes out, I will definitely like to. Where's my mouse? Hold on. Where's my mouse? It got lost. Where'd my mouse go? Oh my god! I'm like, okay, there it is. I freaked out for a second. Like, where's my mouse? I can get a little stupid sometimes. Yeah, there's no talks about it. Let's see how we doing. Okay, yeah. So we've been hanging out for a little bit. Yeah, I think we'll end it here. Yeah, tomorrow I'm gonna be streaming to start the event. I believe it's tomorrow, and if it's not tomorrow, it'll be Tuesday. But basically, when the event starts, I'll be summoning for the new characters. But that's it. Thanks guys for spending the evening going over Code Geass stuff. Next week we're going to do 18 and 19, which are those are fun episodes for sure. 18 is one of my favorite. 19 is very controversial, but we'll get there when we get there. Anywho, guys, appreciate the here. I'll put my full screen. Thank you guys for watching. As always, have a good week, and I should see you guys sooner than later. Anyhow, guys, take care.